and welcome to the Data AI Next 2024. My name is Pete Michael. I am the CMO for North America, and I also have Gina Cox here beside me as well. Gina, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm Gina Cox. I'm a senior product manager at Globant, 6 years, and from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. One fun fact about is we are the home of Krispy Kreme donuts. So if any of you have ever had the privilege of having one, they were invented here in our lovely city. So just a fun fact.
Yeah, it's morning time here, obviously from where you are, maybe morning, afternoon, evening. So we're excited to see you. So just if you're not familiar with it, is a company that is to delight when it comes to technology. We're a native company. We help organizations around the world reinvent themselves and unleash their potential. We have nearly 30,000 professionals around the world in over 33 countries and 5 different continents. And we really believe that we're solution. Gina, we'll talk a little bit.
If you're wondering what the next conference is, we have been in different spheres and technologies and innovation. And so with that objective, we decided to launch these Home Next conferences about 6 years ago. But while these a huge impact, the next logical step was that we wanted to expand it to a global level. So once again, well, conference, and we don't want you guys to forget questions in the chat. He's going to introduce our first speaker.
We have our he's a close and dear friend of mine. His name is Agus Huerta. He is the SVP of Digital Innovation, and he has over 19 years of experience. His experience spans across finance and among many other industries. Time to his family, technology, video games. And a side note, he has a presenting the. And without further ado, we'll hand it over to Agus.
Thank you, Pete, for welcoming me. Thank you, Gina, too. Great to see you here, everyone. It's great to be part of the session of an NXT event once again. I did that the first 21 for our UI NXT series. The NXT series of events has been going on for 6 years. We launched 3 years back. I'm really happy to be here. I'm really connected to the world of data and AI for the last 6 years, I would say. I led our AI and data studio in the past 2, and now as part of trying to make sense of every major worldwide and how that will transform us as a company, but also to our. This includes, among others, that will be a big part of what we are going to be discussing today, but also encompasses things like robotics that has seen a massive step forward with the new development of AI that we are seeing, and also quantum computing, which I'm convinced will be powering the future of AI and robotics too. Having said that, as Gina mentioned, we are going truly global into this event right now. We will be having people in Asia, Europe, Latin America, the US, talking across these 3 hours that we are going to be living together and enjoying together. Some of the topics that we'll be covering here are things like synthetic data creation and the impact it will have, how to build and make tangible AI strategies, something that is right now trying to understand, which is the impact that Gen AI and AI overall will have on businesses. Because I want to make sure that everyone in here remembers for what we have done in the last years. It's gonna be revolutionizing the way we work, and I will be talking a bit more about that in a couple of minutes. But there are a lot of other techniques in the AI world that are relevant, and that will have an impact. And some things that are very complementary to the fact of building an AI strategy are things like data governance or MLOps. Yes, which are crucial in order to properly reach a maturity level according to the needs of actual enterprises when leveraging AI, when leveraging the data they are collecting and generating on a daily basis. Yes. And since we are a digitally native company, we have been working with cloud technology since their early days. This NXT series of events has been always characterized by the fact of having a combination of both speakers coming from Globant, but also external speakers. This will not be the exception. We will have people joining us from some of our major partners on the cloud space, like Microsoft, Google, AWS, and we will have conversations with them when going through all the topics that I mentioned earlier. Now, let me jump into what I was mentioning, the impact that AI will have over work and jobs. Yes. And I think we should have this present because it's transforming every single step. It's even transforming our own industry. Let me start by saying that human beings are technological beings. Yes, we have always been developing technology that act as a kind of extension of our capabilities, an extension of our bodies, and help us transform and interact in a different way with the environment that we have. Being that our work, our home, the nature, the planet, every step that we as humans has been doing since 2 million years back, more or less, has been on the development of technology that has enabled us to move forward as a society. Yes. This has not been a road where changes has always been embraced happily. Yes. I'm sure, although I was not there, of course, that when the wheel came to be at some point in time in the rock age, someone was conflicting with the fact that we now have wheels. Yes, maybe someone within those early human tribes, human societies, was in charge of moving goods from one place to the other. I don't know, collecting good and taking it back to the tribe, for example. And when the wheel came to be and help us have a more optimized or more productive way of doing that kind of logistic, someone for sure felt threatened in some way. Yes. And I don't know if they did a strike like we do nowadays when we feel sometimes concerned, but for sure they resisted that until they understood the impact it will have, how it will benefit the overall society, the overall development they have, and embrace that technological advancement. This has been true also for every major revolution that we have been going on. Yes, the steam machine at first created a lot of disruption in terms of the society. We have the famous Industrial Revolution happening because of the steam machine appearing. And at some point threatening the way societies were at that time, but at the same time, it created new industries. It created a new way of producing good. It helped us expand as a society. We see cities grow. We see countries grow by producing more value-added goods coming out of the evolved industry. Yes, and new shops also appeared at that time. Yes, people started moving from working on the fields to the big cities to start working on these large factories. They started working on more added value tasks that the ones that they were performing before. Yes, and that pushed us forward. And when electricity came and we were able to mass produce it, we did one step forward with that. Yes, and it's even because of that we are able to have a digital world nowadays. Yesterday, for example, Salesforce presented a report that comes as a result of a survey they executed with more than 6,000 people participating in it. 77% of that people trust that in a 3 years or more period, we will be able to trust AI to perform some task in an autonomous way, yes, without any kind of human supervision. But in between, 54% of the respondents are sure that we are going to be having good progress and a better productivity by collaboration between humans and AI. Yes, and that they trust what comes out from that collaboration, which is very, very important. Trust is very important for us to build relationships. It's important for us to move forward. It's important for us to develop new skills. Yes, to in some way find that resistance to change. Yes, that I was mentioning before. So if we look into how jobs are performed today, someone may say, well, they will disappear. Yes, the current job description, the current way you perform your work may disappear and will transform actually into something that adds a lot more value. Yes, and in which you are going to be putting all those skills that only exist by the fact that you are a human being and the way you reason, more into the center focus of what you perform on a daily basis, and get technology, get AI, take care of those tasks that are repetitive, that are low value. Yes, we have been doing that with every step that we have been moving forward in the digital evolution that we have been seeing. Yes, from the time that we started developing computers until now, we have always in some way tried to find ways for them to perform more and more tasks that we were otherwise executing ourselves. Yes, and that has enabled us to scale, that has enabled us to create new industry, to develop industries in a different way, and I'm sure that will happen. And AI as a field is evolving around that. Yes, in order to create more autonomy, we need even more advanced technology than the one that we have right now. Yes, and that technology is being developed by other human beings. Yes, and we are designing how that would look like, how that will behave. Yes, when we see the first impact of Gen AI, when ChatGPT was released, we saw in that a huge way of augmenting our productivity, which is something that we have keep on pursuing as a society. Yes, and those productivity changes that first came from, well, us interacting with specific applications like ChatGPT, were good. But truth be told, if you want ChatGPT to help you in some task, you need to sit down there and start writing. Well, now you can start talking to it, but either way, you need to provide a lot of context about what you are trying to perform in order for it to make sense out of that and really provide an output that is relevant for the task that you're trying to achieve. Yes, that has been evolving over the last 18 months, more or less. And we started seeing a wave of assistants appear. Yes, assistants are in a way optimized to perform a given task and can help you optimize how much context you need to provide these large language models in order for them to help you. Sorry, it's like, hey, I want to query a bunch of documents that I have. I want to understand a bit more about the knowledge base that I have in my organizations. How can I do that? Well, I can feed in some way. Yes, I can create a vector, embeddings, all those things for the LLM to get out of the relevant information in which it will elaborate and augment it. Yes, and provide the answers to you. So you don't need to start copying documents or content from documents, and so increasing the context that you need to provide specifically for it to perform tasks. But I was mentioning that out of the Salesforce survey, yes, many people is trusting that AI at some point in time will perform tasks autonomously. In order to do that, we need to evolve the capabilities that we have in order for them to plan and then to execute that plan. If you go into interacting with an LLM, you will see that if you try to make it reason or go through a baby steps approach, yes, and plan the outcome for understanding a problem and then trying to solve it, it performs a lot better. And that field of study is right now being called agents. And right now we are starting to see how to really build them, how to make them be able to properly plan on the tasks they need to perform, interact with the tools that will allow them to execute each step of that plan, and then make sense out of the outcome from that. That will be the most relevant next step in this field. That will transform different industries, that will transform, for example, the software development industry. But we will still need to collaborate with them. Yes, we are not at a state right now of their capabilities in which they can be fully autonomous. Yeah, so our work will change. I envision that, for example, right now, if you undergo any kind of training as a developer, what you learn to do is interact with, I would say, tools that right now are like the most basic ones. An IDE, for example. Yes, it performs a lot of tasks for you when you are coding, but it really doesn't add a lot of value. Yes, and now with this kind of agents, you will be able to perform faster those low value tasks and get faster to the high value tasks that you want to perform. Yes, setting up a new project will be faster. Yes, kicking it off, having the base libraries, creating the base code for whatever you're going to be building will be faster. Yes, and the same will happen to a lot of different activities. Yes, you can think of anything that requires certain level of planification to be performed by an agent and then supervised on the output. Yes, I don't know. You can have it perform some code analysis and code fixing techniques. And what you will do later on is find out if the task performed by the agent, the output it has created, it's actually good enough. Yes, as you do with any other coworker that you have. I'm not afraid of a future where jobs change. I truly embrace a future where AI can help us and improve the way we work. I'm sure we will have a lot more fun in what we do instead of having to perform those tasks that are sometimes a bit more boring. Yes, truth be told, I have a background as a developer. And I remember that sometimes some of the things that I had to do when I was starting a project were not the most interesting ones. Yes, I don't know, setting up your database connection, creating your first data model around the application. Once you have think about it, once you have designed it, once you say, okay, this data model will solve or represent the challenges of reality that I want to get represented, I just want to go into actually solving the challenges that I really have, those business rules, those business requirements that I have to fulfill, to see the product that I will be creating become a reality. And that happens in, I'm sure, a lot of shops. Yes. So that's what I envision as the future of work. A future in which we will collaborate, in which we will have these partners alongside with us that will be these different types of AI that will help us perform our daily jobs and tasks in a more effective way, that will help us, again, focus on where we can add a lot more value. And that will transform us for good, for better. And I'm sure that will also create new jobs. Yes. Some things that right now in some reports, seems to be really threatened by the fact that these technologies are rising. I'm sure they will transform into something new. Yes. So right now it may seem difficult to see which will be that evolution, but it will come. Yes, and again, new jobs will be created, current job descriptions will change, we will be collaborating together, and we will have a lot more fun, all of us together. Having said that, I'm really thankful for the time and really thankful again for being able to be alongside with you, introducing into this NXT event. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you find it enlightening. You can reach out to me through LinkedIn, for example. You can also follow me in Twitter. I will be more than happy to interact with all of you and follow up on any of the conversations that I'm having right now or any of the other topics that you will be seeing across the event. Thank you so much and enjoy it. Bye.
Thanks so much, August, that was such an interesting talk. We really appreciate your time. Now we're going to hear how to make the AI strategy tangible. But I need to give an important announcement. We're going to invite you to stream on our YouTube channel to find out more about the brilliant data AI minds at the next conference. So then now as we continue the talks, we'll have a conversation about the challenges of AI-generated data. We are fortunate to have four amazing speakers for this discussion. So I'm going to let Pete introduce them to you.
Awesome. And again, before I introduce the speakers, you could find the YouTube link here in the chat. So again, I encourage everyone to move over to YouTube to continue streaming. All right, I'm going to introduce our speakers for our next talk. First, we have Ankit Bose, who's an experienced professional with over 20 years of experience and is the head of AI vertical for NASSCOM. That's the National Association of Software and Service Companies. And it's also an association that represents the voice of $250 billion in technology industry in India and boasts a diverse and influential community with over 3,000 member companies, from startups to multinationals, and also from products to services, global capability centers to engineering firms. And so through NASSCOM, Ankit is dedicated to empowering India by encouraging the industry to embrace AI and adopt digital technologies. He takes the lead in promoting ethical and responsible tech practices and advocating for self-governance. Also, we're going to have Swapnil Tambi, who is a director at BNY Mellon with over 18 years of digital experience, including more than 8 years in the USA. Swapnil has leveraged his experience in analytical problem solving to set strategies for Fortune 500 BFSI organizations. His extensive career spans management consulting and industry roles, covering strategy, analytics, marketing, and risk functions. Recognized as one of the 40 under 40 data scientists, Swapnil's blend of technical expertise, strategy, vision, and global industry expertise drives innovative solutions and impactful strategies in AI and analytics. Next up, we have Surinder Singh, an accomplished data science tech manager with a master's degree in data science and engineering and over 10 years of experience. Currently leading the AI practice at Globant India, Surinder plays a key role in driving innovation in Gen AI and LLM space. Interestingly, he has a passion for riding motorcycles and embarking on adventurous bike trips, while also prioritizing personal health and fitness through regular gym sessions. Sonal Sahu is also going to be on, and the data and AI tech manager, BI practice head of India at Globant, and as a passionate technology leader with around 15 years of experience in the fields of data and artificial intelligence, driving innovation, delivering impactful results. Also has a proven track record of building and leading high-performing teams that unlock the power of data to drive business growth and innovation. Without further ado, I will hand over to our session.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Pete and Gina, for a wonderful introduction. And good morning and good evening, depending on where you are. And thank you so much, Ankit, Swapnil, and Surinder, to join this panel discussion with me. All right, so we'll quickly start firstly covering our theme, which is around reliability. So, and how do we ensure reliability in today's world? And how do we navigate through the challenges that AI data generates, right? So there has been a significant increase in data generated using AI. Like all of us are using it today, right? People are now utilizing AI generated content to write articles, blogs, and even research papers. This artificially generated data is increasingly being used as the foundation for AI model training, with models being trained on vast amounts of internet data. Now, in the era of AI, it is crucial to ensure the reliability of this information produced by AI. Companies must implement robust data verification mechanisms and recognize the importance of domain experts in this process. As we talk through this panel discussion, we are going to address some of the key important topics in this case. Also, one of the key things to remember is how do we eliminate hallucinations and biases in AI responses, right? Prioritizing ethical AI should be the need of the hour.
Yeah, I think sorry for the glitch, some glitch, right? So the fourth one which I was saying was regulatory compliance, right? If you have unreliable data, you can definitely fall into various traps of compliance and you can be faltered, right? The fifth, which is the most important, which all of our businesses are based on that, customer satisfaction, right? If you have your customer who are not trusting your output, there could be a big dissatisfaction, right? So which could lead to your loss of customer pipeline, customer with you, right? So I think these are top 5 things I feel are very important, and definitely you need a lot of due diligence and proper implementation of data pipelines to ensure your data should be reliable. So that's my view.
Wonderful, wonderful. You talked about the trust factor here, right? So, Swapnil, if we take a step back, right, it is important to know how AI arrives at its conclusion, mainly from the thought of how it can prevent biases. What is your take on that?
Sure, Sonal, thank you. So totally agree, right? To prevent biases, we need to understand how AI is making decisions. And for me, it applies throughout the life cycle of the model development. So Ankit touched upon the data. That's when it all starts. Where are you sourcing your data from? Is it accurate? Is it representative? Is it diverse? Recently, we heard a lot of goof ups around facial recognition systems. So make sure, like, if you're building something, you have enough samples across the different subsets, making sure individuals from different age groups, gender, skin tones are covered in your sample data. So that's like a first step when you're building the model. Next step you go to is modeling. So the type of modeling approaches can have impact on bias as well. Ensemble models typically prevent the bias from happening because they are like aggregations of bunch of models. But then there are other techniques as well, right? Resampling, reweighting, adversarial debiasing, and all of that. So make sure like we think through that and apply accordingly. And the final thing I would say there is having some kind of a bias audit or like more like ongoing governance around it, build some fairness metrics around disparity. So I come from banking industry. So if you have a loan approval system, track if your loan approval system for different racial group is significantly different. If it is, that's your cue to go back and look at your data and modeling and all that. So it's a ongoing challenge to prevent the bias, and we need to look at all the different components within the life cycle.
Right, right. Great. All right. Yes, you talked about governance as well, right? So I totally agree how important governance is when it comes to, especially that's what we are talking about, in fact, when we talk about reliability here. So, Surinder, as we talk about this, the world we live in changes so often. And The AI, especially on top of that, every new day you wake up, you see something new about that happening, right? So how would AI change here? What kinds of system do we design or ensure that we get accurate data over time?
Sure, yeah. Thanks for bringing this up, Sonal. Yeah, and I would like to kind of analogically connect this thing. Basically, when we were in school, we used to study a very important law in thermodynamics, and that was second law of thermodynamics that tells you about the entropy of the universe is constantly increasing. Okay, it's continuously increasing. So, so in a system, we can say that as the time progresses, the universe tends to become more disordered or chaotic. Okay, so analogically, same applies to the data world. The amount of data that is getting generated daily is increasing the data entropy. Okay, and the introduction of AI models, basically generative AI has increased it by many folds. Okay, so AI generating a lot of data on daily basis. It's maybe it's random data, it's biased data, sometimes it is even fake data. Okay, so the chaos or randomness is increasing, but we also need to understand that we are in very early stages of AI. Okay, right now there is an AI war going on in open and closed source capacity, and certain organizations might be bypassing a few constraints or checks that should be there in first place. But we also need to understand that we are moving towards creating better systems for tomorrow. And when this thing approaches maturity, when this chaos settles, we will see clear advantages and disadvantages of these systems. Okay. So when you are using any large language model or Gen AI system specifically, we need to understand the data and subject before we start utilizing it. You should have enough subject knowledge. You should have a clear understanding of the domain that you're working in so that you can actually handle the biases or inaccuracies. It could be the selection of model. So based on the industry when you're working in, you can select a particular model. It could also be related to specifically selecting the data that you're going to use. So it is better to refer to your source of information, okay, and then use LLMs. So instead of using the LLMs directly, you could have a knowledge base of your own. Okay, maybe you don't want to use the LLMs in its full capacity or AI systems in their full capacity. You just want to use them for semantic search kind of operations. Okay, so you can have your own knowledge base, and then you can ask the models to actually uh, interact with your data and give you the right set of information. And when we talk about this kind of use cases, then there are many ways you can actually put in place so that you can actually deal with the biases and hallucinations that are getting generated by these models. So going forward, when we talk about the future, okay, when companies are basically creating these kind of solutions on top of their own data sets, they need to make sure that they are focusing more on the evaluation criteria, because it is the it's the most critical thing that uh, we should focus on while we are designing the AI systems. Okay, we should constantly use the techniques like prompt fine tuning, prompt designing, or using like few shot learning or a chain of thought kind of mechanism to constantly changing our prompts and fine tuning our models to actually get the right or relevant data. And while evaluating, we can also use a technique that we can use one model to generate the data and other model to verify the information. Although it might not be correct, and sometimes it will tell us that the information that we are getting is correct, but then we also need to have a human or domain experts in the place, which can actually verify the information and can give us early feedback that we can utilize. And then we can, on top of that, we can provide our feedback to the model, and then it can improvise from there. Yeah.
True, true. Can't agree more with you, Surinder. Yes, having said that, Ankit, so reliably generated AI data is the cornerstone of it's the cornerstone of responsible and effective AI development. When we talk about all of this, do you want to emphasize on how important is human in the loop element?
Yeah, the importance of human in the loop in AI development cannot be overstated, right? But it's very essential to have it as one of the critical components and a very comprehensive approach when we are building reliable AI and responsible AI systems, right? Let me break it down into probably again top 5 things which I view, right? Again, data quality and diversity. Human can play a vital role curating, cleaning, validating training data, right? Second is model oversight. when models are getting built, human expert can be very crucial in monitoring model outputs, identifying errors, giving unexpected behavior, right? That's second one. Third, ethical considerations. Again, as we know, our data could have biases, right? Human can bring that, nuanced understanding of the societal impact, navigate various complicated ethical dilemmas, right? So I think that's the ethical one. Fourth, contextual understanding, right? Again, human insights can be very invaluable when we are interpreting the output of AI. Fifth, continuous improvement. Again, humans can give a lot of feedback loop back to the system so that it can develop, right? Again, a classic example of this is when we are seeing our LLMs which are getting built, right? There's human in the loop implemented at each stage, right? Again, data curation and labeling, prompt engineering, output evaluation, feedback, contextual understanding, right? Iterative testing and refinement. All of these steps, human in the loop is used, and that's the reason we get such beautiful output of the bigger closed source model. Yeah.
Well said, Ankit. Absolutely. Technology can work to your benefit if you know the right way to use it and use it responsibly. Organizations improve transparency and provide explanations for the decisions made by AI systems based on the underlying data.
That's a very key consideration, especially as I said, I come from banking and highly regulated industry, so we can't have like really the black box models. As I think through it, first thing is the principle I follow is always start simple. Before applying any sophisticated neural network or GAN type architecture, like think through whether the scorecard would work, right? So start with the simpler techniques, and then that gets you the transparency and explainability aspect. The related concept around being simplistic here is even in terms of communication, don't use like technical jargons with your users and other stakeholders who you want to convince, right? I mean, it's easier to say I use some convolutional neural network and extracted some features and softmax activation. Just say that AI identified this is a duck because it has a web feed, right? So that translate it for them, and that builds that transparency and explainability for your key stakeholders. Sometimes it doesn't cut it, like the simpler methods don't cut it. Then you have to use some sophisticated techniques, but then think about how can you bring it down to explain it to everybody. And there are again a lot of techniques, gap values, feature importance, attention maps, right? So you should leverage all that, whatever makes sense. And final thing I would say here is the documentation. Make sure everything is for transparency purposes. Everything is documented. Where did you source the data from? Maybe you had access to some data and then you augmented data. What was the training process and the modeling approach? All of that thing. So all these three things, if you do, like go simple, try to find way to explain things, even if they are not simple, and then document will help you get there in terms of transparency and explainability.
Right, right. All right. Welcome back, folks. We are back after a slight technical glitch. Thank you, Sapnil. So, Surinder, we talked about biases, how they get introduced into AI generated data, right? What would be your thought in terms of how do you think that we can eliminate or mitigate these biases?
Yeah, so basically, yeah, it's a very, very common concept in data science or machine learning terminology that you need to understand your data and then you need to see if there are some biases in your data. Okay, for example, biases can come from different types of, like from different uh, uh, places. It could be maybe your training data is having a bias, maybe your algorithm is having a bias, or maybe some human is there in place who is putting in the data manually, and or she might be introducing some bias in the system. Okay, and again there are some, let's say, some feedback loops in the system. Okay, and AI systems that are learning from those feedback loops, those user interactions, can reinforce and amplify existing biases. Okay, so having said that these kind of biases are existing in nature, we need to take some precautionary measures so that we kind of eliminate these biases. First one is, we need to make sure that when we are collecting the data, we need to have the diverse sample of the data that is representing the entire population. Okay, if you kind of take data only for a certain set of communities, or let's say a particular demography, there are high chances that you're introducing bias in your models, and your model might not be predict for a larger population. Similarly, uh, when you are using a particular model, you need to make sure that the model, when it was trained on a particular data, for example, if you're using transfer learning and you are using an already your existing trained machine learning model, you need to make sure the data was trained on uh, enough sample that it has a diversity included in the data. Okay, and also we can also have humans in the loop. Although human, if they are manually putting the data and then they are generating the data, that could be a dangerous thing for an algorithm, because they could be generating some biases. But then it's always good to have humans in the loop. They can actually verify the data. Okay, what kind of data is there, what are the data annotations and data evaluation. So these kind of things the humans can actually verify and evaluate in the system. And again, we also need to have some sort of transparency or explainability component in your model. So when you are working on machine learning models, always have some sort of mechanism that can actually provide some explainability. For example, we have libraries like SHAP. They can actually explain your data. They can actually explain the process that is happening. And last and the most important thing is the continuous monitoring and updation. So you need to have a continuous monitoring in place of your algorithm, so that whenever you see that your bias or your metrics or performance metrics is going down because of some sort of drift that is happening in production, it could be in data or model, you can actually take care of you can actually take care of this, and you can have your retraining strategy in place.
True, true. Well said, well said. Yeah, Ankit. So, coming back to you, right? We are in a world of data that is so rapidly changing, right? And data is the backbone for everything. So, how do we validate data here, right? How important do you think is the role of domain experts here when it comes to data validation? And also, how can companies strike a balance between utilizing AI generated data and involving domain experts in the content creation process?
Yeah, thank you. Great question. So if you see, what does a domain expert bring? They bring the contextual understanding of that domain, and the decisions what the experts take human intelligence, now augmented with AI or analytics, right? So that's what they bring. Now, if you see, domain experts definitely. Let me take some example, right? So in medical research, right, when this large set of data, okay, and let's take an image, right? Probably a cancer image for pancreatic cancer, right? That can get so complex. You need domain expert, that is a doctor, to go at a level and annotate each data, right? When you do that, that only could be fed in your CV, computer vision models, which can actually identify that as a malignancy, right? So you need such level of expertise with domain experts who can really understand the data and bring that contextual understanding to that whole thing, right? Again, the second example probably I will take is lawyers, right? Again, when we are using generative AI and AI models for legal summarization and input, right? If you don't have those domain experts who can actually understand, how will you be able to understand what's the output which is coming, right? So you need that contextual understanding. I think that's the major thing what they bring on the table. Again, I think we are moving from human decision making to hybrid decision making, right? That is also one major point where the domain experts can work and train fellow humans how to take that decision. When you work in a hybrid decision making world, when you're using your intelligence plus AI, the domain expert specifically can come and help train your employee, train your workforce to do that, right? I think these are few areas I would highlight are the key ones. There would be definitely more, but again, that's my view.
Great, great, great to know that. Yeah, Swapnil. So, Swapnil, how do you think organizations can improve transparency and provide explanations for the decisions made by AI systems based on this underlying data that we all are talking about, right? What kind of ethical considerations should be taken into account when we are utilizing this AI generated data for content creation? How do you explain that?
So who doesn't use AI these days for content creation, right? With all the social media posts and everything. So it's a very important question and needs to be thought through, right? But few things I want to point out. One thing is just being authentic about it. Nowadays, with so many deepfakes and everything, social media, some of the companies are doing very good job. If an image is generated by AI, they are clearly labeling it AI generated. So if you are using content, a person or an organization which is AI generated, maybe mark it accordingly, AI generated or AI assisted. It generates trust. It's about managing expectations of your audience, that they know that, okay, there is maybe your content plus the AI portion to it. So that's really important in terms of ethical considerations. Second thing I would say there is a real risk of a plagiarism, because AI can be real notorious in creating a content which is very similar to the original narrative created by somebody else. So that's where you need to think through again as a individual or organization whether there is any risk of plagiarism in the content created. Uh, we when writing research papers and all that in our college days, we used to check it through the plagiarism detection tools. Maybe we should do that with the AI generated content as well, just to make sure. And if there is something, attribute accordingly. Again, it goes back to that trust and transparency aspect. The final thing I would say here is about being ethical is respect the privacy of individuals. Of course, they have their own rights for their private information, but again, if you're using it for content generation, there is a risk that it can be misused. So in terms of then privacy, plagiarism, as well as the authenticity purposes, I think those are the three lenses we can have. And then there are many more, right? The bias aspect and the governance aspect. But these things we should keep in mind when thinking through the ethical implications of AI.
True, true. Well said. Yes, Surinder. So, Surinder, what do you think? What kind of steps organizations can take to prioritize ethical AI and ensure responsible use of AI generated content in today's era?
Yeah. So Sonal, as you see this AI era, I mean, it it started with the chat GPT introduction in 2022, and now it is moving at very fast pace, you know. And I remember a very funny incident actually. Last year I was talking to one of my friend, and he told me that AI is not going to take our jobs, because see, the models that these days we are having, the AI model, they are learning from text data. Okay, they are reading a lot of text, but you know how humans learn. Humans actually learn from the visualizations. Humans learn from pictures, videos, scenarios that we see around us. Okay, and then I slept peacefully, like AI is not going to take our jobs. And fast forward 6 months, you see here we have multi-models in picture. We have multi-models already, and they are kind of uh, groundbreaking some of the realities that are happening around. Like, they can explain you different scenarios, they can do a lot of analytics on videos, audio, whatever kind of data you give to them. And definitely when something grows at this pace, okay, there is definitely some constraints or some checkpoints that they are missing. They are definitely going in competition, but they are not checking all the constraints, all the checkpoints in place. So now it becomes very important for us, like, because AI at the end is going to be useful for humanity. It's going to ease our jobs, our works on day-to-day basis. It's going to help us take those informed decisions at fast speed. But then we also need to understand that there is a very huge responsibility that lies with the organizations, that they need to make sure that we are leveraging the technology, but also we are ethically compliant. Okay, we should have the bias detection softwares in place, okay, where we can use the AI driven tools like fairness indicators or Aquidas to detect and actually quantify the biases in data sets. Okay, and we also should, so for example, if the organizations are using the AI systems uh, s- uh, in their organization, they are using they are doing some projects using AI system, they should have some explainability tools implemented over there, like Lime and Shap we have already, so that they can actually explain some of the aspects. And also the organization should have some ethical AI training programs and certification programs for their employees, not just for the technical teams, but also for the wider audience that is there in the company, so that they understand what are the complications if we do not follow these standards. Okay. The big organizations, or it could be a small organization as well, but I'm talking about from the industry point of view, that they should also partner with various educational institutions and universities to actually fund the research that is going on in ethical uh, uh, direction. And also they should collaborate and work on research with these organizations. They should also have some hackathons and competitions in place, that people are encouraged for these things. People are encouraged to follow the ethical measures. And they also should adopt a multi-layered ethical framework. Okay. And this we should have a community, global community, that should look into that. So, last week I was watching a conference where Sundar Pichai was having an interview with Bloomberg, and he mentioned that we were able to achieve this kind of compliances with nuclear power, nuclear energy, and similar sort of compliances should there be in the AI domain. Whatever models are getting used these days, we should make sure that they are used in the right way, they are used in the ethical way, and we are mitigating all the challenges that these kind of models can pose in front of us. Yeah.
True, true. Can't emphasize more on that, Surinder. So I think, having said that, couple of challenges and solutions that we talked about with respect to reliability of this AI-generated data, we have to identify and understand biases. We have to ensure there's diverse and representative training data. We should also do regular algorithm audits as well, the models that we are using, and at the same time follow ethical guidelines and standards. And having said that, I think with that, we'll just close our panel discussion for today. Thank you so much, Ankit, Swapnil, and Surender, for your time. And thank you so much for the lovely audience who's watching us out there. Thank you.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you so
Sonal.
much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Hi, and thank you all for. Next, we're going to hear how to make the AI strategy tangible. But I have an important announcement. This is a pre-recorded talk. We guarantee you it's going to be an incredible experience because the content is valuable and engaging. So get ready to be inspired, and I'm going to introduce our speakers. So we have JJ Lopez Murphy. He's head of data science and artificial intelligence here at Globant. He is a passionate leader at the intersection of innovation strategy, technology, and data. He advocates for a data-driven mindset and believes in the power of technology for business model innovation. And we also have Ana Jimenez. She is Amazon's AI machine learning senior business development specialist for Southern Europe. Anna is a highly qualified professional with nearly 20 years of experience in data and AI. She possesses technical, scientific, strategic, and tactical knowledge, which enables her to assist individuals and companies in developing comprehensive AI strategies. Anna is passionate about helping customers navigate the expanding AI universe. So welcome, and we will go on with the talk.
All right, so thanks, Pete and Gina. Now in our next session about making AI strategy tangible, we're here with Ana Jimenez Castellanos. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yes.
She's a business development specialist working at AWS. She also is an advisor in data and AI strategy. And we want to know a little bit more about you, about how you got to where you are. Let me rephrase that. What got you interested in data and AI, and how is it that this domain drawn you in?
Well, I think that working in the world of data was an absolute coincidence. No, when I was 18 and I had to decide what to study, like everybody, no, I only knew that I like two things. First of all, understanding the world, and the other is to solve problems. Richard Feynman, the Nobel Prize in Physics, said that to not know mathematics was a severe limitation to understand the world. And I suppose that I intuited this when I was a child, and I love mathematics because somehow it's the only scientific method to understand the world, no? So that's why I studied an engineering full of mathematics and methods to build solutions for multiple problems, which is computer engineer. And it was during my degree where I learned about the world of artificial intelligence. No, it was a complete something new for me. No, through subjects such as logic or expert systems and programming languages such as Haskell or Prolog. And after university, I decided to study a master in artificial intelligence research almost 20 years ago. And since then, I always work in AI, in different roles, as a researcher, as data scientist, as product manager, as technical manager, co-founder of my own company, which was acquired by a Big Four, by EY, as head of advanced analytics, business development manager, even as a professor, but always dealing with data and AI.
Right, and now moving through these different roles, like you talk about technical management, product analytics, founder. How has the way you think about data changed? Like, I'm guessing, and just to clarify the question, when you look at data as an analyst, you're looking at methods. When you're looking at that as a founder, you're looking at the value or what are you selling. When you're looking at the product side, you're looking at usability or something else. I don't know, but how has your progression about thinking about data changed through these roles?
It is a very, very good question. It has even philosophical nuances, about what the word data means. And it's because the word data is often used in many different contexts to refer to many different concepts. I used to explain this in my classes by using the knowledge pyramid or the DIKW pyramid. I know you're aware of it, data, information, knowledge, wisdom. In this pyramid, we have the data in the base. Data is considered symbols or signs or observations representing facts or signals, which are not useful, not really useful until they are in an usable or relevant form. Let's say Milan Seleni, a Czech and American economist, said that this unusable characteristic of the data was the knowing nothing. And when we talk about big data, we have millions, trillions of knowing nothing symbols. So to find value in data, we have to transform it into information, knowledge, and wisdom, and going up in the pyramid. To find value in the data at the end, we need to apply many different algorithms. How are we going to go up into the pyramid? By solving problems based on the analysis of the data using statistical techniques or logic or artificial intelligence or generative AI or whatever. So about your questions, it makes sense, because we can think that a person who works with databases, if we ask her about her data, she will consider that we are talking about each one of the observations that are stored in each one of the cells of the SQL. However, if we ask a business analyst about her data, probably she will refer to her analysis. And if we ask to a business person about her data, she will probably refer to the result of having analyzed tons of data. But they are using the same word, data. So for all this, the word data acquires different meanings depending on the role that is using it, and will also use different processes to analyze it and obtain value from it. And for this reason, among other, it's very important in companies to implement a data culture that raises awareness of the different meanings of data, the data world.
Right, and you're touching on a very interesting point, which is data can mean many different things. And going back to the session and talking about strategy, which is another loaded word that can mean many things. How do you combine these two? What does strategy mean to you when we are talking about data and AI, like within this domain?
Well, strategy can mean many different things, but at the end, a strategy is a plan to achieve an objective. simple, no? So not so simple, but the definition is simple. So, but in my opinion, an AI strategy is the one that plans the necessary resources to efficiently deploy a series of use cases based on artificial intelligence, no? And when I say efficient, I mean efficiently use the resources at our disposals. And these resources used to be data, technology, yes, but also humans. So to create an AI strategy, in my opinion, there are at least 4 ingredients that must be taken into account. The first of all is the business impact. Everything must be born from the business, from the objectives that we want to achieve. And every company should decide if they are going to improve the engagement with their customers by personalizing their campaigns, or if they are going to detect fraud, or they are going to make a sales forecast to optimize their resources, or if they are going to carry out the predictive maintenance of the machines, or evaluate the quality of their products, or if they are going to provide internal tools to optimize the productivity of the legal area and to generate code. No? Companies must take the decision of which use cases they are going to implement and in what order. This is super important. And from here, the rest of the ingredients will be data governance and management, the selection of the right tools to create the AI platform, and the data and AI culture and change management. The 4 ingredients are super relevant, and they must advance in parallel if we don't want our artificial intelligence strategy to become a proof of concept stored in a drawer. No, I would like to comment here that from AWS we have different resources, services, and programs to help companies to solve the different challenges associated, which is one of these 4 pillars.
Right. And talking about the 4 ingredients and kind of the right way to do it, I want to flip it a little bit. And can you mention some of the big no-nos when people think about AI? I mean, you mentioned it shouldn't be just POCs, one after the other. What are some other big no-nos?
Yeah, this is important because at the end, there are many companies dealing with the 4 pillars separately or isolatedly, no? And there are several significant pitfalls to avoid. For instance, the lack of clear objectives is the first one, no? Since if we deploy AI without well-defined goals, it will surely result in waste resources and unclear benefits, no? Another pitfall is the failure to integrate with business strategy. I have had many conversations with companies thinking in AI strategy as technical strategy, no? And they failure to integrate it with the business strategy is very important, because treating AI as a separate initiative rather than integrating it with the overall business strategy can limit its impact at the end. Mm-hmm. Also, what I used to call the Frankenstein, or those companies neglecting scalability and maintenance. No, I have seen many companies designing AI systems without considering the future scalability or the ongoing maintenance of this resulted. And this resulted in any significant long-term challenges. No, and talking about maintenance is also relevant to think in the long term and continuously monitor and evaluate AI system, because the data will change, no, and the AI results will change. And we have to prevent the detection of errors and improve the outcomes continuously. More pitfalls: the underestimating the data quality and the quantity. Many people used to say, we have tons of data, no? But insufficient or poor quality data can lead to inaccurate models and unreliable outcomes. And it's important for companies to invest in robust data management practices. Also missing companies don't think in change management. Because failing to prepare your organization for the changes that AI will bring can lead into resistance and implementation issues. And the companies really needs, it's something that I am starting to see in companies, and the companies really need a plan for train, communicate, and integrate AI into the existing workflows. And least, but no, the last but not least, ignoring ethical and privacy concerns. No, we have seen many news, many scandals in the news about AI, and neglecting ethical implications and privacy issues can lead to public backlash, regulatory penalties, and at the end, loss of trust from our customers. So companies must ensure that their AI applications are transparent, fair, and respect the user privacy.
Right, thank you. Now, some of those pillars that you've been mentioning are very wide at the, let's say, corporate level, like talking about the Frankenstein, or talking about the change management, or talking about integrating with the business strategy. Now, one that it's easier, and I'm going to make my job easier now, is to go a little bit deeper on how do businesses kind of find the objectives? How do they find the use cases? How do they define them? And in this tonic of what are the mistakes that companies can make, what are the most or the biggest mistakes that you see when companies are trying to understand and define the use cases?
I have had a lot of conversation with CTOs, CIOs in the conversation that are asking me what is the use case that they have to implement. No, of course, everybody wants to be inspired by the trends of the market, but the problem is that many times they don't have the internal mechanisms to discover those use cases by themselves. No, so I've seen many. Not mistakes, no, but many challenges in the companies when I have been working with them. First of all, they are not looking at the long term to prepare the technology to allow real-time value. They are looking just at the use case, and that could be a problem because what I have said about the Frankenstein. The other about this creation of the use cases, it's not creating these internal processes to discover and prioritize use cases, because at the end you can discover use cases from many different areas in your organization, but you have to prioritize them based on the business impact, based on the technical feasibility, the data availability, and so on. No? So all the organization has to be involved to prioritize those use cases. Also, I've seen many organizations that is not giving real value to technology, to technological areas. And this is something that is completely changing the landscape in the companies. No, I'm seeing CTOs and CIOs empowering themselves and belonging to the board, let's say, no, and taking decision together with business. And this is something that is changing completely nowadays. Another mistake, and this is probably a real mistake, no, is that I have seen companies setting unrealistic expectations about what AI can achieve, no, leading to disappointment or skepticism. But at the end, we all know that there's a lack of AI profiles in the market, no? And I'm not talking only about technical roles or data scientists, but also hybrid roles or orchestrators in the companies, no? This lack of expertise and maturity in the market many times carries all these mistakes or these challenges that are finally learned in the hard way. No, finally you will learn, but in the hard way, no? And also can derail AI projects. So one of my advices here would be for companies should invest in hiring or training staff with the necessary AI skills, no? And look for experts in the market, such as Globant or AWS, who can accompany them and advise them along the way, avoiding the hard way, let's say.
All right. Now, you mentioned something that I want to go a little bit deeper, which is about having technology sitting at the board or driving decisions. And maybe coming from a technology company, that seems weird. But if you see more traditional companies, it makes sense. Though you could make the argument that through the digital transformation, they all should be behaving like technology companies. So the question is, are you seeing that change or like AI, data, analytics being driven by technology, or are they being kind of let in because the different areas within these companies, the different value drivers are seeing that without that, they're losing competitivity?
No, I'm seeing different strategies to leverage AI. No, but first of all, to develop a clear AI strategy to align the different AI initiatives with business goals and create a roadmap that outlines the objectives, the KPIs, and the milestones is something that has to involve everything in organizations, no, and also invest in data infrastructure and avoid silos. No, I'm going to talk about the different things that companies can do to leverage their AI strategy. But the things where I have seen the companies that are having successful AI strategy, let's say, is when they have the different pillars set. No, they have all the culture in the companies. They have the different mechanisms to align by themselves in between business, technology, human resources, legal, no, all the areas involved in the organization, because AI need those areas to arise. But also they have a data platform created, and they have to invest in data infrastructure and avoid data silos. No, if we could look into the future just 1 year, probably next summer we will be talking about how to ensure real-time inference. No, we will not be talking about the model anymore, but we will be talking about real-time inferences. And for that future, we need to prepare our data today, because next year will be late. No, we have to invest in robust and agile data collection, storage, management system, etc., and ensure the data is clean, relevant, and accessible. This is the other pillar. And the last one is the technology, no, the Frankenstein. No, about technology, companies must design AI systems with scalability in mind. No, choose technologies and architectures that can grow with your business and handle increasing data volumes and complexity, because data is going to change.
Yeah. All right. Now, we've been talking about mistakes. Not making mistakes is not the same thing as doing the right thing, though it helps a lot. And you've been mentioning a lot of things that companies should do within the pillars, within the data platforms, within the silos, the hiring the people. Now, if there's one thing that companies should be doing to leverage AI the most, what would be the first part? Even though it goes a little bit against your Frankenstein, because you're saying, well, if you don't do everything coordinated, you're part of the problem, but you have to start somewhere. What is that place the company should be starting on?
From the business problem. The business problem is the first thing, because the business, I have seen many companies trying to organize by themselves in different isolated initiatives, but when they have a problem to solve, everything will come. No, the problem that you want to solve gives you the objectives, gives you the direction, no, to build the road. If you don't have an objective, you will not have the road. So, from my opinion, the business objective is the most important thing.
All right, and now taking into account that a lot of our viewers will be people getting into this domain and trying to work out their careers and understand what is the landscape. One of your roles is as business development. Can you explain or clarify what that means?
Yeah, in my organization, in AWS, my role is halfway between the cloud services provided by AWS, more than 200 in different areas such as storage, analytics, security, IoT, or AI, where there are more than 30. So my role is halfway between the cloud services and the customers. And currently my area of action is Southern Europe, is Spain, Portugal, and Italy, public and commercial sector with companies of all types of industries, sizes, levels of technological and AI maturity, etc. So it's amazing. No? And internally in AWS, we have many more areas. We have partners, professional services, prototyping areas to support our customers. And my role has a business perspective, but I work closely with solution architects specialized in AI and Gen AI. And my job consists, on the one hand, of listening to customers, understanding their needs in order to offer or to create the puzzle of technological, strategic, or cultural solutions that they may need, following the Amazon leadership principle of customer obsession. And on the other hand, I analyze the market trends, not only from my conversation with customers, but also keeping up to date, which is something tremendously complicated nowadays in this field. And these trends, needs, or insight that I discover in the market help other parts of the organization in AWS to improve our services. So more or less, this is my role. I do many other things, but that's the heart, let's say.
Okay, and within that role, or past roles, or other roles within your career, what is the quirkiest case you've seen a client interested in? I mean, could be, you don't need to mention region or client, obviously, but it could be a good example about the don't go there, or like, this is really disruptive, or this was a really interesting case.
I hear a lot of ideas from customers, and I know that they are the experts in their business, and I am hesitant to judge if a use case is strange or not. So I think it would be a very brother-in-law opinion, let's say, since I cannot consider myself an expert in all the business domains or segments that I manage. What I do is to try to understand my customers' objectives very well and use my area of expertise, which is AI, and the place where I work, which is AWS, where I have access to domain experts, both internally and from partners. And with that cocktail, I provide the best possible solution. But in my work, where I speak to companies of many different sizes, industries, AI maturity levels, I'm really always learning from new things from my customers. It's amazing. On many occasions, they are the ones who innovate and show talents that I had not heard before. We have to take into account that with AI and Gen AI is full of problems that have never been solved before. And this is amazing. It's amazing to see how customers are innovating through AWS services, how they are speeding up their organization through a well-oiled and data and AI strategy. It's really amazing. But to say something about use cases, really transformative, I can remember one of the cases that has caught my attention lately is the so-called text to SQL. Or the creation of an interface that allows business users without programming knowledge to recover data from databases simply by doing a query in natural language. And this use case is really, really interesting as it is freeing many data analysts from tasks they had to do for others in the organizations where they were simply retrieving data. Now, with this text to SQL, they may be providing more value to the organization because they have more time. Another peculiar use case that I have faced lately is the migration of code from old version of Java or COBOL, for instance, to more modern versions of Java, in this case. And this could be performing a tremendous cleanup of the code and making it more efficient, which is really, really interesting. Yeah.
Right. And now turning our side from the client and kind of the outside world into internal and kind of the teams you work with, what are the skills that you value the most in these teams when you're talking about data and AI?
As we have been talking, knowing about AI has become a very extensive area, from the most technical perspective to the business perspective, including algorithms, data management, etc. And of course, I really value having people on my team who deeply know their area of expertise, each one of their area of expertise. But as we have said, there are many roles involved when we work with AI. So it can be a bit of a Tower of Babel, with many different profiles speaking different languages. having different objectives, a little bit of chaos, let's say, no? And for that reason, one of the skills that I value most in my team is teamwork. I really admire each of the people I work with who are really brilliant individually and professionally, but who have the ability to work together, to understand others, to be humble, to be collaborative, empathetic, and to learn from others to achieve a common goal. It's something I also see in companies I work with when I create with them their AI strategy. And I used to quote Tolkien here and say that there are companies that are trying to manage their AI strategy as if it was their ring of power, the Sauron's ring, you know, one ring to control everyone. However, because of the different roles involved in an AI strategy, this is not so much a Sauron's ring, but the fellowship of the ring, no? where the team works together to bring the ring to Mount Doom and destroy the ring. No? So in my opinion, that's a very a skill that I value a lot.
Great. Now, you mentioned several skills that are important, but thinking about someone that is just starting their career or the path within data and AI, what is one thing you would advise them to focus on? Is it something like, you know, mathematics, statistics, machine learning, programming, ML ops, data management, databases? Like, it's a big domain, as you said. What would be a good way to start that?
Well, you know, I have two kids of 7 and 10. They are too young, but it's something that I see, you know, when I ask myself what to recommend them in the future in 10 years, no, when they have to work and to study, to go to the university. Let's see if they go or not, because the world is changing every 2 months, I think, no. So, well, it depends. It depends if in 10 years, not in 10 years, in 1-2 years, who won't work using artificial intelligence in the coming years? Nobody, probably, no. We already use it when we open our social media profiles and read the wall with the publication. It's the AI who organized that wall. It's also AI who is recommending series to us on Netflix, or is the AI who is also suggesting a route to reach our destination by car, no? However, now we are going to see that AI is also going to help us in our daily professional life. No, we need to create like a robotic arm, no, from ourselves, and this robotic arm will allow us to save time and be more efficient. In this sense, I can have my crystal ball, no, but lots of new professions will emerge around data. Only around data, experts in legal issues and AI, in cybersecurity and AI, very important topic, in data modeling, for instance, with these new formats of data going into the game, let's say. And there will be also an adaptation of the rest of the profiles. People needs to learn about how to use and control AI. No? So prompt engineering will be a skill as common as knowing how to use a text editor. Therefore, I will tell someone who is just starting out to start by knowing how AI works. What is AI? No, what is AI? What is generative AI? There are millions of online courses. No, the best known are those by Andrew Ng, who, by the way, is now part of the Amazon board. But there are others. No, AWS has several courses also, including several to promote technology knowledge in girls and women, since we take into account that it's really, really important for the sustainability of this technology to have diverse profiles. And on the other hand, that people need to learn how to control artificial intelligence. No, so a simple prompt engineering course would help for that.
All right, thank you. And now, once they started, they focus on something, they are incorporating some skills. You'll see that there are different, let's say, maturity levels with arbitrary names. Like, I'm gonna say, I don't know, AI literate, somebody that's being able to work with AI, maybe someone that's more fluent, and then someone that is really proficient. What makes the difference between these stages? How does someone jump from one to the other? In your view, what is the distinctive characteristic of somebody that is really mature and really sophisticated about dealing with AI?
Probably, as I have said, no, there are many different areas in AI, no. So probably when you are really a proficient person in AI, it is when you have the ability to jump into the different areas and have different hats, let's say, to talk with the different profiles that are expert in that area, in that subset of knowledge. But you have the ability to jump into the different types of conversation and to manage everything. No, in my opinion, that would be the AI proficient person.
All right. And now, since we're running out of time, but I did want to have a curveball thrown at you. Let's talk about LLMs being conscious, happening since Lambda and whatever. But there's another aspect, which is about creativity and whether things created with Gen AI are creative or is the people using them. And there's this sea of different opinions around that. So I want to know your perspective. Are LLMs or generative AI creative? Are people creative? And in which sense is that different?
Yeah, that's another philosophical question, no, about what creativity is. But well, creativity is the ability to create original, novel, and valuable ideas. This ability, we think now in this ability to think unconventionally and break the established patterns and find original solutions. No, but of course, human being, or I think, no, because this is a philosophical question. First of all, we have to define what is creativity. But I think that human beings use inspiration to be creative. And that inspiration often comes from past learning and observation. And a year ago, I heard a phrase that was very, very illustrative to me. And someone said that artificial intelligence was like a very powerful rear view mirror. No, so artificial intelligence or generative AI had the ability to analyze millions of data and show you the statistics behind that data, no, in a proper way. No, nowadays with generative AI we can read the results of those analyses. No, and I thought it was a very good metaphor because that's how it is. No, LLMs has the ability to answer questions by analyzing tons of data, and yes, AI is able to create a bug fugue, but AI is not bug. Bug is a creator. No, for me, this creativity is a philosophical question, but has also another philosophical question behind, which is the value that we as humans give to a content created by a human or to a content created by our LLMs. No, so we don't have time, I think, to answer this
it's
question.
a very open-ended question, but it's an opportunity to start discussing these implications about Gen AI that might exceed the technical. So thank you for your perspective, and thank you for being here and for being part of this event. Thank you for your time. And now we're going to be going back to Pete and Gina. So see you all on the other side. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, JJ, and thanks, Anna. That was absolutely incredible and inspiring, as Gina mentioned. All right, let's change gears and talk about how to push business with Gen AI. Our next speaker is Isaskun Lopez Samaniego. With over 20 years of experience in data ecosystems, she's dedicated to designing and developing data products based on a deep understanding of clients and business dynamics. While driving strategic initiatives, she holds the role of SME, Data Strategy in Globant, defining and developing data strategies for clients based on their needs and the maturity of their data environments. Isaskun is also passionate about leveraging Gen AI as a differentiating factor to add color and shine to the data. So with that, I will pass the ball to Isaskun.
Hi, how are you? I'm going to present my in how to push business with generative AI. And the first thing I would like to talk to you is about, okay, when I went talking about generative AI, or when I were talking about data and AI, not too much years ago, the people say, look me like I was flying, okay, I was in the moon and they were in the earth, okay, because, well, oh, sorry. Why? Because like Mafalda said, the people, we are looking normally for planning and not for flew and think another point. So I like to think another point. I like to think in future, but the future is not so far. Okay, and what changed in AI? What was the point we changed in it? Okay, when Gen AI appeared in our life not too much time ago, we think, okay, what do this for us? Because Gen AI existed before, AI existed before, and we are only see a different point of view. What is the difference? The difference was that Gen AI, like we are looking today, is making easier the interaction between the user and the technology. Okay, and they made that the AI got closer to the consumer, the interaction got more human, and to generating more creative and original content. So the user, the final user, that could be our families, our friends, or the people that finally pay us for our services, understand why the useful of the artificial intelligence, what is the useful of the thing that we are trying to explain. This was very difficult before. Okay, what in this case, generative AI augmented the user of the creativity and make us relieve more value for our task. With less effort, we obtain more value. Okay, and meet user at the way they want to operate. Okay, this is a very beautiful words. Okay, but what is really important for the business is the first thing is because this increase our productivity. Other reason is that reduce of cost is very important for us, reduce of cost. And the last thing is increase of engagement. We can obtain revenue for two ways, or we can improve improvement in our business on two ways, or reducing costs or increase revenue. So this is why Gen AI has crossed the environment, the data and AI environment, and show us how to do it. Okay, in that way, AI is a boost for us, okay? Because the Gen AI have allow us to adapt artificial intelligence to the customer needs and to generate new features and new opportunities to obtain value for the data, to obtain value for the service, and to go closer to them. Okay, so really what AI is doing is reshaping the way the business are operating. It's the opportunity to crack the environment, to change the things, to fly a lot or go to the moon. And what does this mean? Because we know that artificial intelligence is a system for a lot of years ago. LLM product exists for a lot of years ago. We talk about NLP, we talked about machine learning, deep learning, another thing. And ChatGPT is the peak. Is the peak of the iceberg. I were to say that is only the peak of the iceberg, but it's not only. It's the peak of the iceberg. It's the vision that we have the contact with other things and to make easier the use and to make more and to give more diffusion to our product. Okay, so but it's not the only thing. artificial intelligence, use the deep learning, use the machine learning, I use other technologies to advance. And how do we do this? Okay, because, okay, this is very beautiful and we are thinking about this, but how do we do this? Okay, we understand that to do this, we can do a very difficult project or perhaps go to for a step, okay? And adding service depending on what we need, adapting the services to the product or to the needs, not the product to the not the need to the product. Okay, so the capabilities we are going to give to our product, to our service, have to be organized, okay? And we organize in our framework with 4 layers. The first layer, okay, the first layer is enhanced interaction, okay, is when we are going to do more important to the interaction. We are going to talk with the client, with the people. Client could be internal or external in a more natural language. We are going to give them a point of contact where they can talk with a service and the service is going to talk them in an easy way. Okay, in the second layer, we are connecting to the data. It's very important connecting to the data to understand that the people want a more personalized environment, okay? We are going to give them information that they need, the information that is creation, okay? The layer 3 is the real personalization, where we are going to look for an AI ecosystem. Yes, we are going to look for data of this person, data more to enhance the people to our service. And the layer 4 is when we talk about instant action. Okay, we don't need to go to other platform, to other system, to other ecosystem to take an action. We go to in the first moment in this platform with Gen AI to ask the machine to make the action, but ever supervise it, okay? We are not talking of the machine is going to do everything for you, okay? The machine is going to give you solution, to give you the opportunity to be autonomous and to do the thing simple, but you have the decision to advance. Okay, if we deep in, if we deep in layer 1, we are going to connection of a generative artificial intelligence with any front to have an integrated experience. Okay, what this mean? This means that for the business, we are going to obtain more impact on KPIs, more efficient. Okay, what is efficient in this way? Efficient when we are investing the customer satisfaction, we are saving costs because we are reducing the cost to talk with a, with a person or with more people in your company. You are give the user more comfort, reduce interaction time because it's not so long. They don't have to wait to someone take the telephone or take the chat. And so this makes more efficient in your company, which is mean or less cost or more revenue. Another way we have the mark, okay, the trade. You are not only in the company, you are not only looking for money sometimes, but you are looking too for notoriety, because if you have notoriety in the market, you are going to attract more people for personal or for customer. Okay, so innovation authority is really a good value to your company. Okay, increased visibility and market perception could be very important for you too. So market recognition make you using this kind of tools go away in your company. In the layer 2, we are integrating a large language model system with data lake to make an encompass with a well of information on a CRM or internal repositories, another database. What this mean? This means that you are going to security what the chatbot, what the LLM is talking with your client, is talking with your employees, what they are doing. Okay, you are giving them information and very accuracy information to advance in the conversation. Okay, so it's less emotive, perhaps, is less open, but you are ensuring that the conversation is going in the way you want. Okay, there are an impact, and the impact is trust. Okay, you are going to increase the confidence of users about what they answer and what you are answering then about their question. Okay, accuracy is very important in this way, decreases in error rate, don't talking about a lot of things, or don't do a strain imagination thing that sometimes LLM could do. Okay, the other thing is compliance. Okay, you have to take clear that the compliance is very important for our client, is very important for us. So we need to ensure that the internal rules of the company and the legal rules with the countries or the society should be, or ethics rules should be really done. Okay, this is so important. Recurrence is the last one in this case, okay, because the recurrence of the people coming back to your platform, coming back to your servers, is going to give you more visibility on the market perception. So you are obtaining engagement from the client, okay, or for the user. Increase the engagement are going to increase the value of your product or your application. Okay. If I'm going to talk about the last one, truly interconnecting, the layer 3, okay, truly interconnecting intelligent ecosystem by connecting with a variety of other AI models, systems, and plugins. Okay, what are you talking about this? Okay, this is more complex, okay, because we have to add another layer. Okay, we are talking here about personalization. Here we are going to go to customer rate. We are going to go to information about our customer. We are going to use segmentation, cluster, prediction models, and other kind of things to ensure that the clients or the user feel engagement with your service. Okay. And we come back to the engagement. We come back to make sure that the client or the user feel this connection with your platform, this connection with your service, and come back to it. Okay, with personalization, we are improving to the accuracy. Okay, we are improving the conversion, and we are improving the compliance too. Okay. About layer 4, okay, and this is the last one, but not the less important. We are going to connect the ecosystem with other systems. Okay, perhaps I am talking with a chatbot, but I want to make decision real. Okay, when I take a decision, I don't want to delay the decision. When I see that I can buy something, I want to buy this thing in that moment. When I am in a company and I decide if I'm going to send a person to a project or another person to a project, I want to, when I have the decision making done, I want to take an action in that moment. And this layer allows us to do this. Okay, this make an integrated management. Okay, reduce manual operation, and when you reduce manual operation, you are reducing risk of error too. So you can avoid to do different things in different platforms and just concentrate, integrate all in the same point, okay, in the same channel. This allow us to investment time, reducing the time you spend in completed process. You reduce issues, decreases the number of gaps or bugs that could be if you are not integrated. Okay, increase the conversion rate, because in integrated process you can take the decision so fast that you can take an action in that moment, and reduce the cost. Okay, because you are optimizing resources. You don't have to go to so many platforms. You are concentrated and integrated the platform in only one. Okay, for the end, and it's my last one, so I was very, very fast. Okay, how we do this solution? Okay, if we are talking in the first layer, if you remember in the first layer, we were talking about, okay, we are only going to allow the user to contact with our channel, with our LLM. It's a chatbot at the end, okay? So we have a user that connects with the channel, okay, to make answer, to make question, and this channel is going to an orchestrator. What do the orchestrator? The orchestrator is a point that concentrates how to manage the conversation, depending on what kind of user I have, the channel that the user came. Okay, we can send the question to a kind of LLM or other kind of LLM. Okay, you can see GPT-4 in the right because it's one of the most knowledge LLM, but we could talk about anyone. Okay, and this orchestrator and this LLM have a contest. Okay, we have to give them a prompt training and a space where we talk how we want the conversation advance. Okay, when the orchestrator asks LLM and the LLM give an answer, we can go to the user. In this moment, we are using backoffice to make a middle point between the user and the LLM to make the answer. But it could be in more fast way, and if you aren't sure that your LLM is working as you want, you can go direct to the user. Okay, in the second stage, we are going to add a knowledge base. In the knowledge base, we are giving to our model more information about the company, about the procedure, about what we want to talk. Okay, it's in a space, a database of knowledge where we can inform or enrich the LLM to ensure that the information we are giving is more accuracy, is more engagement with our users. Okay. Now we are going to add yet artificial intelligence and user tracking. Okay, this is the layer where we are going to add personalization. Okay, with artificial intelligence, we can to talk about prediction, we can to talk about segmentation, we can to talk about give our client other kind of server or services more accuracy or more adjustment to their need. Okay, so this is what I can add this layer to give this information. We can take information of our CRM, of our client, and understanding who is the client, give them more information and give them a more personalized data. And the last one is connected with other application. Usually we do this through APIs. Okay, it could be in other way, but usually we could be through APIs. Okay, with this information, we are doing that the action will be fast, that the action will be real, and it's a very useful point of the LLMs technology. On the more important, in my point of view, I think it's the more important point to cross the market, that the Gen AI boosts with us. Okay, they allow us connect all these layers and to make that the information we can give to our user and the action will be faster and will be more easy to do. So we are reducing time, reducing effort, and creating a more open space to increase our benefit. Okay, so this is all. As you can see, I present myself like a believer in data magic and on the power of adding color to data. And you can contact with me if you want. Thank you for your attention.
Thanks, Isaskun. That was absolutely incredible. And now we will welcome 3 new speakers that will talk about how AI is impacting on business, present and in future. So Gina, I will introduce the speakers.
So we're going to have Rafael Fernandez Campos. He's president of the CDOs for Spain and Latam Club. He is the Director of Information Strategy and Regulatory Reporting at CaixaBank. He's Academic Director at IE Business School and the author of the book, The Value of Data. He is in charge of generating networking opportunities to extend best practices in data management and to disseminate knowledge through publications, talks, and training. His true passion lies in literature, especially poetry. Welcome. We also have Esther Morales, Associate Partner at Veracom. Esther has been working in the digital sector for more than 15 years, helping companies make better decisions through data analysis. Esther founded, 9 years ago, she founded with 3 partners her own AI company, Piper Lab, which has had a recent exit and has been acquired by the Bain firm. After selling her AI company, Esther has joined as associate partner, Veracom Consulting, a niche company dedicated to advanced data analysis to help companies in their digital transformation. Welcome. And we also have Rafael Martin, VP Head of AI at Globant for more than 20 years of experience in data. Welcome as well.
And just one last quick and important announcement before we pass off to the speakers. And this is just for Spain and just for our Latin America friends out there. There's a new edition of the master degree, La Liga, and Globant focused on innovation and digital transformation. In the chat, we're going to be leaving the link to this info and hope you can check it out. So without further ado, we'll be passing off to our speakers.
Hello, hi everyone. So first, thanks Gina and Pete for the introductions. Well, I would like to thank Esther and Rafael for being here with us today. So it's a real pleasure for us. Let me introduce the panel that we are going to discuss today. No, so as we continue to witness rapid advancements in the development of AI technologies and solutions, it is becoming increasingly important, I would say critical, for businesses to understand and harness the power of AI to stay competitive in this dynamic environment. No? So we will talk about 2 things. No? First is about the ways in which AI is transforming industries, from improving customer experiences, streamlining operations, to revolutionizing decision-making processes. But also about the challenges and threats. No? What are the threats and challenges that come with integrating AI into business? No? So let's start first with evaluating what is the current state of art. No? So I will say, let's start with you, Rafael. No? So you are the president of Club CDO, no? for LATAM and Spain. And well, the idea is, I mean, you have a lot of members, no, in this club that are CDOs for key companies, no. So, what is your view on where are the companies in terms of? I mean, we know that a lot of companies have been experimenting with AI the last times, but what's your view on what is the real situation in terms of really creating and generating value from AI? No?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you very much for inviting me, Globant, to this show, to this event. And well, as a CDO, yeah, and the president of the CDOs Club, we're almost 500 CDOs from 18 different countries: Spain, Portugal, and the whole Latin America. And well, as a CDO, I bring data. Okay, I bring data to answer your question because we created a framework and an assessment to measure the maturity, the analytical maturity of companies. We call it data math. And it's just a survey on 5 questions for every one of the 21 areas. I mean, we divided the world of data, the world of analytics, in 21 areas, grouped in 4 big domains. That's strategy, governance, informational consumption, and advanced analytics. So from this survey of 150 different companies from different countries, we found that well, in every one of the 4 domains, we barely pass. Okay, it's very bad. We don't get a good grade, but the lowest grade is advanced analytics, and the highest one is data governance. And among sectors, we can find that the highest grade it's for financial services and telco companies, followed by insurance, retail, and energy. And the lowest grade is got by, well, no surprises here, public administrations, and real estate and education and sports companies. I mean, not La Liga, of course, not La Liga, but other companies. And in terms of the 21 different areas, here there's a curious thing that the 2 areas that got the best grade are security and privacy. It probably just a coincidence that you can receive a good fine if you don't have it very developed. But okay, there's nothing more motivating probably than a good fine. And the lowest grade is for monetization. Okay, for the area of extracting value from data. That's all the companies just talk about, that it's the area that they have less developed.
Okay, very good insights, no? Based on that study. So now, Esther, you also have broad experience, no, working in different areas, sectors. So what's your view, no, on the current state and these key areas of opportunities, no, or this maturity, no, that we are expecting?
Okay. Yeah. Hello, everyone, first of all, and thanks for inviting me for this event. I'm totally agree with Rafael. I think that AI technology is in an advanced stage of development. Its adoption is growing rapidly in most industries. However, the level of maturity varies considerably across industries. In my opinion, companies that are successfully integrating and generating value from AI are those that have overcome challenges related to data, infrastructure, talent, and organizational change. For me, the key of successful integration lies in a clear strategy, investment in adequate resources, and focus on cultural change within the organization. This last one for me is crucial, to have a cultural change within the organization.
Okay. So following with you, Esther, where do you see the biggest or the key opportunities, no, in terms of sectors or areas, no? I mean, for sure, all the customer care will be not impacted, but I don't know. What's your view on what are the key opportunities that companies will have, no?
Okay, I think all industries have opportunities, of course, and we have to take this train, the train of the AI. In my experience, there are many sectors that are already benefiting from AI. To give some examples of projects that they are being carried out in strategic sectors, for example, health sector, thanks to AI, it is possible to personalize treatments based on genetic profiles and health data. For example, IBM Watson assists on diagnosing disease and suggesting treatments based on a vast amount of data. For example, in my company, we receive a lot of questions about finance and banking sector. We work on fraud detection, customer services, risk management, In manufacturing, for example, since a few years ago, we've been working on predictive maintenance projects, reducing downtime and maintenance cost. I've got more example, transportation, route optimization, AI optimize delivery routes to reduce time and fuel consumption. So I think all industries have the opportunity to take a great benefit from AI.
Okay, thanks, Esther, for that. Rafael, going back to you. I mean, based on this amount of insights, that you were explaining before, what are the key areas, of opportunity that you see, for the different sectors or domains?
Yeah, I would like to talk about two of them. One of them is probably one that keeps unnoticed, an opportunity that keeps unnoticed, that is Gen AI and AI in general brings an opportunity to professionals who are responsible for data governance. I mean, Gen AI is this sexy thing that's come, the new sexy thing in town, and all CEOs want to build use cases to use Gen AI, and everybody wants to use it. And imagine those lunches among CEOs talking about the different use cases, and that brings an opportunity to us, because if they want to, if it's so easy to use AI for the board of directors, for example, then they will probably discover all the things that we have not arranged in the data governance. I mean, these problems of data quality are going to appear absolutely when they begin to use it without the filter of a data analyst, and they may ask things to data that will bring them all the stuff, all the garbage that we have around here that's filtered by data analysts. And the second opportunity, I would like to talk about the talent, but I mean, not the lack of talent, that of course there's lack of good talent on that. But in this case, we all talk about upskilling and reskilling, but just focused on training. I mean, let's train people to upskill, to reskill, but we don't think about creating the context, because it's not only about training, it's that they are able to use it and they are able to generate value from that. I mean, if we don't create the context, for example, if they don't know how to use the tools, even if they know Python, but they don't know how to use the tools, or they don't have the roles or the password, or for example, if their bosses really don't know what to ask for, I mean, because they don't have the hunger. I mean, they don't have the hunger, they don't have the knowledge to ask things to them. They probably will be trained, but they won't use it. They will never use it. And another thing on that, another issue on that, is that we probably don't need so many data scientists, for example, but because models are very similar one to each other. I mean, fraud, anti-money laundering, data quality, all those models are very similar. But the thing is that we don't talk. I mean, we work in silos. I mean, if a bank needs 5 data scientists, they need 5 multiplied by the number of silos that they have. So we need to think about a different kind of organizing in hub and spoke, those talent that we lack for.
Okay, no, that's great, and that leads us to the next point, that is the challenges, that the companies are facing. What we are seeing is, and is related to the point that you were highlighting. Probably we are seeing that the employees are getting some value, from making their job easier, in terms of using Copilot or whatever. But not always this is something that is translating into benefit for the companies. This is one of the challenges. But I would like to ask, I mean, if you had to say, what are the key other challenges or the key challenges that you are seeing? on the companies, no, in order to leverage and embed AI in their processes. You were starting to comment some of them, no, but if you had to highlight, no, the key ones.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was for me or for Esther?
Yeah, that was for you, Rafael. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I missed
It was
that.
just linking to the point that
No,
you
okay. I understand. So sorry. Oh, yeah. Well, to me, the first one absolutely is to demonstrate value, and because you see, we have launched a survey among 100 of CDOs in a study that we have published 3 weeks ago, and among 100 CDOs from different countries of Spain and Latin America. And when we asked them what's their greatest achievement in their position, what they feel more proud of, they all say that's the modernization of the data platform. And I mean, probably it's just a coincidence, and 3 out of 4 CDOs come from technical skills. I mean, they are engineers or mathematicians, or they come from IT departments. But modernizing the data platform is not important at all. I mean, it's important, obviously, but we need to show the value that we extract from a new data platform. The CDO is invited to the board of directors, for example, like he goes or she goes upstairs and he spends his precious 10 minutes explaining the modernization of the data platform. He probably will never go back anymore to the board of directors. What he needs to do is showing how it increased the sales or reduced the churn or mitigate the risks or whatever. But we need to show the value, not the technical stuff. And the second challenge to me is cooperation. And for example, in not only in small and medium business that obviously they need to cooperate, but even in big companies, it's not a trade-off between cooperation and competition. To me, cooperation is a competitive advantage, and it's going to be more and more, because we need to share, not only share data or share insight, we need to share knowledge, we need to share external services. That's why we created CDO's Club. We are people who talk to each other, not only cry over the shoulder of the others, and we also cry on that. We talk about solutions, because if you have a problem, there's probably somebody who found that problem years ago and he knew how to solve it, or at least he knew how he failed or how not to solve it, and we can help each other. This kind of ecosystem to help companies and to cooperate, I think it's going to be crucial.
Okay, great. Perfect, thanks. So Esther, I think you were mentioning before that you were seeing, or that there are opportunities, no, for all the industries, the companies. But what are the challenges, no, that you are seeing in order to really get this value?
Okay, just to complement what Rafael said, and I'm going back to the basis, because for me the main challenges I encounter every day in companies when I visit them is data collection. Is back to basis, but gathering sufficient and relevant data can be difficult sometimes, especially for companies that have not traditionally relied on digital processes. Other one is data quality. Maybe you have the data, but the data is not qualified. So ensuring that data is accurate, is complete, and free of biases is critical for effective AI models. If you don't have good data, you can't get good models. Other one for me very important is scalability, ensuring that AI solutions can scale with business growth and handle increasing amounts of data. Because sometimes companies ask for a proof of concept, but once you have the proof of concept and the results are really good, they are not able to scalable it. So for me, it's very important to make to work in an architecture to be able to scalable. And the maintenance, of course, continuous monitoring and updating AI models are necessary to maintain accuracy and relevance. And this means money, which is other challenge, because you need sometimes you need a high initial investment in infrastructure cost, ongoing cost, and sometimes it's a challenge for companies. And of course, and Rafael said before, training and development. Companies need to invest in ongoing training and development to keep their workforce updated with the latest AI advancements. For me, this is crucial.
No, that's totally agree. That's great. So yeah, so we have. I will stay with you, Esther. I would like just to finish this panel, with okay, you have been talking about the current state, the opportunities, the challenges, but what about the future, no? So how you envision the company of the future, the businesses in the future, thinking on, I know, 15, 20 years from now? So
okay, yeah. Well, as we move forward, we are becoming more and more familiar with the use of AI. This is a fact. Technology is moving so fast, and this is hard to say what will happen in 20 years, even in 10 years far, I think. But what I really think is that AI will be part of our operations, strategies, and market dynamics. I think there will be a coexistence between humans and machines, where I hope the most repetitive task will be carried out by AI, and hopefully, I hope so, we humans will be the ones who qualify and approve what machines propose. We are more and more being used to use AI in our normal life. So I think in the next maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 at last years, will be a perfect coexistence between humans and machines. At least I hope so.
Yeah. No, it's really difficult. We don't have the crystal ball. No, that's good. Okay, on your side, Rafael, how you see that? These the businesses in the future, the company in the future.
Well, I'm always optimistic. So what I'm going to say, I don't know if it's a forecast or it's just a wish. As I said, it's just a hope. But I would like to talk about ethics, and because it's so important that I hope in 20 years, every company understands and measures the impact they have in all of their stakeholders, not only the P&L or not only risks, even customer satisfaction, but not only the company itself, but customers, suppliers, and because we always try to translate customer satisfaction into euros or into dollars, okay, into P&L, or suppliers fairness, for example, we try to translate it into P&L, and even I don't know, the employee satisfaction, for example, we try to say, well, satisfied employees will work better, and then the P&L, now again, the P&L. But there's something in the impact that we have in our society, in the environment, that we need to include it in our purpose. I would like to think that in 20 years, there will be no company not including ethical issues in their purpose. And to do that, we need two things. We need that we, customers, become militants. I mean, if we show bad behaviors in companies, then we leave the company. We churn out. And the second is that we need to find KPIs. We need to measure the ethics. I mean, we have created the Data Ethics Club, and we have included a philosopher in our board of directors. Then when you talk to a philosopher about measuring the ethics, well, he says, no, that's impossible, that's impossible. But the thing is that companies, we need certainties, and we need to find KPIs to measure our ethical appetite. So we will be able to measure how far we are from our ethical target?
Okay. No, that's clear. No, and a lot of both, based on both of your comments, no, a lot of discussions will come, no, relating the role of humans and machines in the future. So this is just the start, no. So with that, no, I would like to thank you, both of you. I think to the audience, really useful insights in this panel based on the experience and the real approach with the companies and the businesses. So thanks, Esther and Rafa. And I will give the control back to the presenters. So thank you, everybody. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Raphael, Esther, and Raphael Martin. Now we will welcome to Prashant and Andres for a talk, ensuring data integrity and security in the age of AI, industry's approach to data governance. And Pete's going to introduce them.
Amazing. So as Gina said, we have Prashant Gutala as the principal at Microsoft, part of the Fabric Engineering Group. In 20 plus years of industry experience, he worked in healthcare, manufacturing, travel, and hospitality domains. He is passionate about data and AI and in its role in unlocking business value and enhancing customer experiences at scale. We also have Andres Tenorio, the Data and AI Tech Director at Globant, software designer for over 10 years of experience in software projects, working as a developer, software architect, and project leader. Welcome to the stage, Prashant and Andres.
Thank you, Gina and Bit. And thank you, Prashant, for being here. Today, we will be talking about how to ensure data integrity and security in the age of artificial intelligence and how the industry approach is making changes on data governance process. The idea with this interview, we understand that in today's world, the artificial intelligence is a very revolutionary all aspects of life and industries. However, with this power comes a great responsibility, which is to ensure data and data integrity and security. I would like to, before continuing, I would like to also thank the involvement of our Microsoft Enterprise Studio in connecting with Prashant. We launched this Microsoft Studio on last July with a renewed focus on expanding our partnership beyond geography. So it's a pleasure to have you, Prashant, here and to have this conversation with you.
Thank you so much, Tino. I'm super excited to be here and appreciate Globant for hosting this event. A lot of insights already being shared here. Very excited to learn from the experts as well. So yeah, let's go. Go ahead, Tino.
Awesome. Thank you, Prashant. So firstly, for the benefits of our viewers to know a little bit better about you, can you tell us what got you into data? What was the first spark into these data technologies and ecosystems?
No, absolutely. Very happy to share a bit of my background and what brought me here, right, into the fascinating world of data. I worked as a technocrat for many years. I come from an engineering background, always had an inclination towards, analytics, analysis, and sort of that mindset from very beginning. Then, as life took me, I worked in various different domains, including healthcare, manufacturing, travel, hospitality, finance. And more, I worked in different industries. A couple of learnings that sort of stick to me, right? One is one needs to focus on the business value, right? The technology keeps changing, the stakeholders keep changing, the industries keeps changing, But one common thing that I think, one message I want to give, especially for a younger me, if I was watching this video for the last 20 years back, is always focus on your business customer, right? See what you're doing and how that is making an impact to the business or your customer or whoever your client is, or your own company. And secondly, what served me very well is have a business or a data-driven approach, right, to problem solving. And that data is really the spark, right? So many customers I worked across in industries. For example, I can clearly think of one spark that you asked for a spark is I was presenting for a multinational manufacturing company. We had a proposal, which was a multi-million-dollar deal. We had a lot of marketing aspects covered in that, wires and whatever, right? All the usual stuff. But at the same time, there was one data point that we really drilled into, right? We talked to the technical stakeholders and said that, hey, look, you have this Kafka queue that is sitting there with 20,000 messages coming through every hour. And that is choking your business because of yada, 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 right? And that was an aha moment for the customer, right? We spent like 3 weeks preparing for the presentation with all the other marketing things. And then there was one analyst in the team that spent like maybe 2 hours to do this analysis and provide these insights. And that sort of opened the doors, right, for the customer. Now, I'm telling you, the power of data and analytics can go far-reaching, right? Again, especially people who are starting off their career. Right? You are in a great time of this whole world, how the data is exploding, how the analytics world, how the AI world, all these are converging, and this is really unprecedented times, right? So the winning point again is be always data centric, always look for business value, create arguments with your data, and the rest will all fall in place, right? Anyway, I just wanted to share also some of the stats, right? Talking about data, I was looking up the other day. The total addressable market for data analytics today is an astounding $300 billion, right? $300 billion is a lot of, zeros, okay? And you put AI to it, right? Now we're talking about a growth prospects of over 50% year on year for the next 5 years at least, and I won't be surprised if we are talking about trillions of dollars in a few years from now. Okay, so again, this is a super great industry to be in, a great place to start off, and this is changing at a breakneck speed. So super excited to be here and happy to share more insights. I'd love to hear from you as well, Tino. What was your spark and how did you, come over here as well?
Oh, well, my first spark on data, it was a long time ago when we were having this explosion on technologies about data on the Hadoop ecosystem. So we started to look into these technologies initially with a very manual configuration that it was kind of complicated at that point. But it was very useful to start looking into this data ecosystem, data work, and start looking into all the different challenges that we have within data. You just mentioned something regarding business changes, business transformations, and the value that $300 billion that this industry and this need to have data analytics is bringing. So I want to move our conversation into that specific field. So we have this amount of money going around data, and it has a lot of challenges that cross between to have data security, to have the integrity of data, to have the data quality in place. So let me ask you this. So in your opinion, what are the challenges that organizations these days are facing in maintaining this data integrity and security in the context of what you just mentioned, the AI application, the AI revolution that you just mentioned as well?
No, absolutely. I think the challenges are, very widespread, again, across industries. And this is very typical for any groundbreaking, game-changing technologies that we have seen, right? You think of thereof cloud, right? Cloud migration. Companies question, hey, is this secure, right? How do I trust these companies to host my data? What is the privacy aspects, right? And so on and so forth. And then there's technology challenges of implementing large transformations. You pick any technology, there's always, umpteen number of challenges. For today's organizations, right, if you look at it at a micro level, the challenges are widespread. The IT leaders, for example, making decisions for organizations, have to manage their IT operations, right, and innovate at a much faster pace, at a much lower cost, right? The budgets are shrinking, the future is uncertain, right? Gone are the days of, hey, we have a 5-year plan and a 3-year plan, right? All of them are out of the window, right? Let us see how many companies will even survive the next 10 years, right? There's no brand equity or brand value or the legacy on which they can ride on, right? And now change is in the air, they have to sort of evolve with the change, okay? Technology is evolving at a breakneck speed. If you look at, let us say, a job description from any company and just say, hey, what is the data professional architect required? Hey, they need, skills in big data. They need skills in SQL. They need skills in, BI visualization. They need, AI capabilities. The list keeps going on, right? The reason is, it's not that one person is expected to do all this. The companies don't know what they need, right? That is the reality, right? So with the budget that they have, they got to hire talent that can do, across the board, go left to right, and deliver on the results. Because ultimately, I'll keep on going back to what I said, right? Having the business value is what they want, right? So that is another big challenge of lack of, skills in the market, only because the expectations are unreal, right? And then now you talk this whole security focus, right? Talking about data and security. Look at the number of cyber attacks that are happening, every month, okay? And the graph is only going up, right? An exponential pace. And not only how many cyber attacks are happening, and what is the sophistication in which they're happening, right? Now, the same AI skills that we're talking about of, innovating, progressing the world, the same AI skills are available to the hackers as well. The same AI skills are available to the cybersecurity, the threat actors as well, right? Now, so the game has changed, right? Game has changed, the challenges have changed, and increasingly companies are under a lot of stress to unlock this potential and innovation while still managing the challenges of data security, data protection, privacy, right? All the compliance and regulation and so on and so forth, right? So for especially around, as we are talking about AI applications, building AI applications, this whole data privacy and ethical concerns, like the previous speaker was talking about, is a huge aspect, right? Now AI is crawling, petabytes of data, zettabytes of data, right? Large data sets. Sensitive personal information is part of it. And now you apply, regulations like GDPR or CCPA. These regulations are complicated by itself, right? Now you ask AI, and now the AI is spitting out so much of information. Now, how do you apply all these, ethical and data privacy concerns and regulations on top of that? That's a huge concept, right, to tackle. The other one, and this is becoming increasingly more common these days, is the outcomes that the AI is being trained on, right? There is an inherent bias, right, in the training concept of AI, right? And there are some groups that may be marginalized, right, unintentionally, because AI is not trained on that type of data, right? So we got to make sure that the fairness is covered across the board by design, right? Quality and consistency is the other aspect of things, right? Continuous validation is required, and how much, again, coming back to how much funding do you have to maintain that quality of your original AI MVP or implementation that you built on, okay? And the list keeps going on, right? So in terms of security and AI models is a huge aspect, right? And the biggest one that sort of is there for companies to tackle is the whole performance aspect and the scalability. Okay, yeah, AI is great when you start developing solutions, right? Now we're talking about having hundreds of use cases in a customer to be developed, right? Now we are talking about so many more GPUs to be used, right? That much more dollars, and then that much more performance. So because again, AI is all about intense data, right? Transformation and ability to crunch so much data to get you the essence in a much faster speed, right? So all these are different aspects of AI that are new issues, right? Or exponential issues that customers are facing today, and we all are in the same boat, right? I mean, we will have to tackle this, but it is super exciting on the potential, right? AI brings to the table. And with all the data that is being created, at a very rapid pace, applying those security principles, maintaining the data quality, and providing the results and the expectation that AI promises have for future is the age that we are living in, right?
Right, correct. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned a lot of different important things here in regards of security, in regards of quality, and with the amount of data that we currently have in this world, like it's very hard and very complicated to have control for everything, and it's a challenge for organizations to be on top of making sure that there are no security breaches and that data is being used in the right way. And so it's very important that organizations can lead the efforts into technology, into process and culture, and make sure that we can have a good understanding of how to use that data. And I just want to ask you about this in terms of the ever-increasing volume and complexity of the data, because it's not only now databases or plain data, we have videos, we have images, we have a lot of different sources and type of information here. How's the industry approaching data governance in the sense of integrity and the security and quality that you were mentioning before?
No, great question, Tino. And industry is evolving as we speak, okay? I mean, when you say industry, even the tech companies don't have all the answers, right? But again, looking at least, let's say 2 to 3 years from now, right? It is very clear that data is the fuel of AI, right? I mean, as somebody said previously, garbage in, garbage out, right? So making sure data quality is in the prime and center, and the foundational aspects of AI is super, super important, right? At least at Microsoft, the way that we look at it is, we call it a Microsoft Intelligence Data Platform, right? As you were suggesting, we're really bringing the span of operational databases, right? Bringing in all the real-time analytics and real-time intelligence into one place. Bringing in the governance and AI aspects into one place, so that when we talk about a platform, we're not talking about a piecemeal approach that, hey, we solve this problem that a customer is having or a company is facing today. But really, you're looking at the whole spectrum of problems that could come in the future and prepare them by creating a platform more than a solution, a point solution for the companies, right? So industry is looking to solve this in different dimensions, right? So the one big thing is the tool simplification, right? So making sure the platform plays there, and there are simplistic tools and easy to understand and easy to get on board to the tools is super important. Second thing, and this is sort of a huge elephant in the room, is securing the data at the source, okay, versus securing the data when you need it, right? So when you secure the data at the source, right, and you have those compliance guardrails that are addressed to the data at the source, now wherever the data travels, the security footprint travels along with the data, right? And again, this is easier said than done, right? But we are going after solving this big problem where the authentication, authorization, role-based access, right? The sensitivity aspects of who can see what, right? And if all that, again, it can be done in a central place, then that is a big, big achievement from the security aspects of data. And the third aspect also is, bringing automation or Gen AI capabilities onto the data that you already have, right? I mean, we're all already exposed to, multimodal interactions with data, with, OpenAI and other LLM models. More and more, the same thing can be applied to data in your data cleansing, developing those data quality rules, right? And governance of the data, right? And the approach for data governance is also shifting, right? As I see it. Traditionally it was like a centralized model, right? I mean, if you dial back 5 years or 10 years, right? Companies said, we need a centralized data governance team, right? That's going to, now everything and anything has to go through that team, okay? To make sure that data is compliant, data is secure, right? So it sounded great on paper, but when you start implementing it, it became a very slow process, right? While you're getting those standards that the company wants to aspire to get and get the security aspects, but at the expense of agility, right? Now, the remote teams are going through this governance process, and just to get the rubber stamp from the team and get their architecture approved is taking months, right? That has changed, right? Now, the companies said, okay, we'll have a decentralized model then, right? Yeah, we'll drive agility, which is awesome, but then the standards are getting compromised, right? Because every team had started following different standards, right? So we're almost coming to a point where I think it is like a hybrid approach that's working, right? For many progressive companies, like a federated data governance, where you have the responsibility at the core, all right? So for example, companies said, hey, these shared file locations can only be accessible to the employees of the company, right? That's like a policy that the company has, right? That is at the centralized data governance team, right? And then they're driving agility at the edge, right? So that individual teams can make their own decisions in terms of, what is right in terms of what, policies and what security models that they implement, as long as they're adhering to the centralized guidance the company has. And the last thing also is about monitoring, right? I mean, whatever the data usage is and how to monitor the policies that are being implemented, having those data stewards and data consumers work in cohorts, right? They should not be working opposite to each other. Ultimately, the data stewards are there to help the data consumers so that they can responsibly get the data that they're looking for. So, I mean, those are some of my thoughts. Again, from security aspect, what we believe, at least at Microsoft, is a zero trust, security model. And security by far is the #1 priority that we are seeing company after company, CEOs, agenda showing up, right? So being responsible and driving accountability is something that every employee in the company has to own, right? It is not a back office job for a few security people to figure out, where the data is moving and how to manage that. If you see something, right, you have to make sure that you report it, right? And you have to be able to have the culture in the company that allows you to do that, right? So it comes down to, having that company culture and keeping the security on top of the agenda for every employee, and making sure that you're almost working in that security model where you're not only protecting the servers and networks and applications, but you're able to also democratize the data, make it a self-service data culture, but at the same time doing it responsibly and driving that accountability. So this is a huge challenge, right? It's easier said than done. But companies that are progressive, that you're seeing are beating their numbers, right, in Wall Street, and the worst people, that the companies that are running this successfully are showing the results, right, that we are seeing. So those are a few thoughts that I have. Hopefully that made sense, and I'd love to see if there's any other ideas you have as well.
Yeah, for sure. They're very interesting and important aspect that you mark there. Like those three aspects in terms of not only the implementation of data platforms, the security part, and the automation of the processes, but also in terms of understanding and making sure that we know that this is a very hard process and very challenging in terms of technology that we, in terms of IT, need to implement somehow and make sure that technologies bring all this together to ensure that we have all these controls in terms of data, in terms of who can access the data, the teams that are able to show the data. But I have a question regarding all of this. So you mentioned one person outside the technical scope can think this could be a very high and very difficult effort to get into and make sure that data is okay. But how we can ensure a balance between innovation with all these AI technologies and all these possibilities to generate content with ensuring all these critical data integrity and security? Do you think this is a roadblocker to get into innovation with AI?
That's awesome question, right, Tino? So innovation is extremely important for every company, right? And then, the way I look at it is security is extremely important, right? Now, it's almost like, the yin and yang, twin engine duality, right? That companies have to manage, right? Now, the good news is, right, you don't really have to have this whole data governance as like a necessity evil to manage. But in fact, I would argue that, progressive companies are making this whole data governance and security as their strength, right? They are creating, force accelerators, right? And converting that into their competitive advantage, right? Because think about it, right? I mean, we started with this whole era of, hey, we need to make sure we protect our data. We need to make sure we govern the data. We need to make sure we have all this yada, 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 right? But the reality is, if you are able to implement that effectively, then as the business models are changing, right? Now, new partnerships are coming, right? For example, Uber of the world has completely disrupted how we do transportation, and they're moving into food delivery. They're moving into some other businesses. Same thing with Amazon. So companies, are able to move from one business model to the other, right? Are able to evolve, are able to, transform themselves only because they're able to use their data effectively in new ways that you have not imagined before, right? And to be able to do that in a very secure manner, we're able to do that in a more governed aspects. Guess what? You need to have those guardrails set in stone, right? And set in a way that they're still nimble, but at the same time, you have those guardrails to set so that you can use that for your advantage, right? For a competitive advantage. So data governance should become a core priority along with security, right? In a CXO's agenda for a company, right, to be successful and to be able to democratize the data that they're looking to do, right? So those are my thoughts. And ultimately, look, we have seen the industry move from 5-year strategies to 3-year strategies. And now we are coming to a stage where even a 1-year strategy is a very long time, right? Because things have to be nimble and agile to be able to move from one direction to the other, along with the disruptive technologies around us. So ultimately, it comes down to I think having, of course, strong leadership is extremely important. Having a strong security posture is important for every company. Data as a competitive advantage. And above all, I think the company culture, right? Having the growth mindset, having the companies to be people to be able to learn from others and able to drive that forward. All these are, I think, sort of work together. So all in all, I don't see really, data governance or security aspects to be an inhibitor, right? It's more as a competitive advantage and an accelerator to drive innovation, and that is how we got to frame it to be successful, in my view.
Awesome. Thank you, Prashant. And I would like to continue this very large topic and continue conversation with you, but I would like to have this final question to you in terms of the future outlook. How do you see the opportunities and challenges in the world of data, and most of all in the data governance side that we have been talking about on this space? What is your look and your opinion on that side, and how, with having AI evolving day by day, what's the future that you see in terms of opportunities, technologies, in the sense of that specific field of data governance or data in general, as we may speak?
No, absolutely. I think what we are seeing, is again, across the industries, right? AI is applicable in more ways than we originally imagined, right? Be it in healthcare and all the advancements in healthcare that we are seeing in the news, financial services, right? Automation, transportation, and so on and so forth, right? Sustainability aspects, education is a huge aspect, right? I mean, guess what? All of them require, data quality to be in place, right? So the way we are looking at it is these are not different technologies, both AI, data analytics, all these are together, right? And focusing on data quality and data governance aspect is paramount importance. To make sure that this whole, AI, it doesn't kind of completely get stuck after a few years, but is able to open new windows, right? Open new doors for the world to utilize and take us to the next level. So overall, I wanted to share that, in my 2 cents, this whole, data governance aspect shouldn't become a back office thing. It should become this central core conversation point in a C-suite conversation in the board of directors, and use that as your competitive advantage. And again, for viewers who are starting out in this data and AI, fascinating data and AI field, I would say that, continuously learn, right, and change with the technology, pick up new skills, right? And start using those skills, and it's going to be a journey, right? We are in a very early stages of AI, right? All said and done, while there's a lot of research done for many decades before, the implementation of AI has just started. Maybe it's 1 year old now, right? And we have a long journey to go together. That means so many new opportunities will open up. Having that, flexible mindset and learning mindset will take us together a long way forward. Okay, so I'm super excited, and I want to thank you for this opportunity, Tino and the Globant team. And back to you.
Thank you very much, Prashant. And yeah, it's very important. I hope that our audience have enjoyed this conversation, and for our audience also to enforce this message that you're giving, like in sense of keep studying, get the skills into this data and AI ecosystem, because it's very interesting, very challenging. And thank you one more time, Prashant, for being here. I hope we can keep discussing on other spaces, and well, we'll keep on the conference. Thank you very much, and we'll get back to Gina and Pete. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Andres and Prashant. We appreciate the talk. It was fantastic. So we have one more important announcement. This last announcement is At Globant, we believe that technology can transform the future of communities and the world. We want to provide valuable tools to the younger generations through education to facilitate their access to and awareness of STEAM careers. That's why we have the Inspire Garage. It's a Globant initiative that seeks to bring high school students closer to opportunities offered by the world of technology in the areas of video games, design, programming, content, and social media. So in the chat, we're going to leave a link. We'd like for everyone to take a look at it if it's something that inspires you. Now, Pete's going to introduce our next speakers.
All right, so I'm excited that we arrived to our last session of the day. So thanks everyone for sticking with us and through all the excitement. So I will now introduce our last speakers. First, we have Leandro Ruiz. He is the Director for Analytics and AI for Google Cloud in Latin America, with more than 25 years of experience in analytics industry, helping companies in Latin America realize value from their data. Also, we have Martín Scarrillo. He's the Director in Data of AI from Microsoft, Hispanic South America. He is innovative, solution-oriented tech executive who loves working on making cool products and developing services and teams. If his vision is to continue the capabilities of technology with the complexities of people. And last but not least, we have Josie Bike. She's the VP of Technology and Data Solutions Partner at Globant, with over a decade of driving data-driven transformations with expertise and leveraging analytics and to accelerate growth, foster innovation, and optimize operations across industries. So I'm really excited to welcome this amazing panel of building and winning data and AI strategy, insights from cloud experts. So without further ado, I will bring Josie and the rest of our speakers to the stage.
Perfect. Thank you, Pete and Gina, and thanks, Leandro Martinez, once again for joining us today. So far, we've heard a lot from various speakers around data and AI and its growing influence on our personal and professional lives. So can you share a little bit about your background and, drawing from your experience, talk a little bit about how you see data and AI shaping organizational strategy and what key roles it really plays in driving business decisions and innovation? Martín, let's start with you.
Okay. So first of all, thanks for having me here. It's a real pleasure for me to share space with Leandro and yourself and to hear about other great colleagues in the industry. So as for my background, I come from hard computer science, so always related to technology. And I guess that the journey started on-prem, right? And the view on how data can bring value to the businesses started there. Of course, it evolved significantly within the introduction of cloud services, right? Because I believe that was an inflection point when we started to really having availability of certain services for everyone, everywhere, across the globe. I believe that's when really things started to accelerate significantly, right? As for what is key, based on my experience, my journey and the companies that I've been part of, aligning that data strategy with clear business goals is paramount. And while this might sound a little bit obvious, you would be surprised how many times you find that there is a real disconnection between both things, right? Between both worlds. Why are we generating these files this way? Why real time as opposed to defer ingestion of data, right? I mean, decisions needs to be made with a clear vision on how that will drive and improve for the and business, how you will win a competitive strategy around your competitors, or how you will improve your time to market, your product, how that will improve something within the environment that you are operating in. And from my experience, that is not always there, right? So starting with the basics is what I could advise. That's my point of view, Josie.
Awesome, thank you. Leandro, it's your stage now.
Okay, thank you very much, Josie and the Globant team for inviting me here. I have a long journey working with analytics. Back at the beginning, we have to explain why analytics was necessary or was something that your company has to do, why your hunches and your obvious knowledge of the business was not enough, or and how analytics could, or doing analytics on data could help you to be even more effective. So it's a long journey. Now it seems like it's pretty clear for everyone why we need to analyze the information. And building on what Martin was saying, I think that most companies need to start for the most obvious business problems, the problems that they believe that they are more valuable, and in the moment that they start to mature, to think about a framework where you could assign the right amount of resources to every business problem based on the potential business value of that problem. What I mean with that, I mean, there are things that we know they are very valuable. I mean, we know that if we prevent customer churn in any company, it will be something very profitable because it takes, I don't know, 3 or 5x the cost to bring a new customer than to keep doing revenue with the same one. So churn is a very obvious problem. Fraud is a very obvious problem also. So this may be the first problems that we tackle, depending on the industry, right? So, but there are new business problems that we are just starting to analyze that we are not sure about the value of this business. We don't know if this is going to really drive a strong impact in the bottom line. So, but our framework should be able to have some space for these initial projects, assigning the right amount of resources, and then this idea of graduating them once they prove the value, right? So probably we will develop this idea more in our conversation, right? But start with something that is really automatic, even though if it's not extremely precise, but it can bring you 50, 60, 70% of accuracy. And then when you prove the business value of that, then we can devote some scarce resources like data scientists to work in that model and create something even better. So that would be my advice.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I think, we discussed how, Martin, from your perspective, really aligning business goals, business strategy to the data strategy. And Leandro, your point about making sure we tackle business problems that are the most obvious. Going from that and now really diving specifically into your domains, which is the cloud, what do you see as the most common challenges that organizations have when they're developing their data and AI strategies specifically within the cloud and for the cloud? Leandro, we'll go with you first this time.
Okay. Thanks for the clue. So I think that the cloud has some very obvious advantages and some ideas that needs to be solved, let's say, or some challenge that needs to be solved. So regarding the most one of the most obvious values that we have is, number one, we have almost every single algorithm or analytics tools that you want immediately available, because you don't need to install, you don't need to provide infrastructure. It's something that you choose the tool that you want to use, and you can start using it right away. So that's a huge advantage compared with the traditional on-premise. And also you have all the benefits of the elasticity, right? When you need more resources to analyze either more resource intensive algorithm or more data, you have them and then you drop them. So that's what I see as the most beneficial, right? And then regarding the challenges, I think there's still some issues with trust. Some customers don't feel comfortable, especially regulated industries, but it happens also with other industries. They don't feel comfortable moving sensitive data to the cloud. And And the thing with that is that I think that all the well-known hyperscalers have extremely secure procedures and certifications in all the informations in all the data center and all the products that they implement. So what I see a real threat is that the customer needs to be aware on how to use these security tools, right? Most companies starts working with a zero trust approach. So everything is blocked unless you unblocked it. So which is the right approach for customers that don't have that many experience working with the cloud. So I would say that solving this trust issue is one of the main problems. And the second problem that I see is an issue of compatibility, right? We need to make sure that that all the tools that we include in our portfolio, they have some adherence to standards. So sharing information between tools and different data sets is something that you can do without becoming a nightmare of data transformation, right? So it's something that can be manageable. So this is the pros and cons that I see quickly summarized.
Amazing. Thank you. Martin, what about your opinion? What do you think are the challenges?
So +1 to everything that Leandro said. So that is of course I adhere to every point he mentioned. Just to not repeat points, I should say that scarcity sometimes is a bless, right? I mean, when you don't have unlimited resources, sometimes you play your cards in a wiser way. So something that the cloud brought to the table is unlimited resources out there. So that could be a bless, or could be your worst nightmare if you don't do a proper job managing your costs. So I should say that for customers that are taking their first steps into the cloud, managing costs certainly is something. So establishing a good FinOps strategy, making sure that you understand how you measure the cost, because a solution might be functional in terms of achieving the goal that you wanted to achieve, but the cost might take it out of the picture right away, right? And if you don't choose the proper elements to do it in an effective way, that could be your worst nightmare. So I would put managing cost like the number one. So integration into existing systems, right? Especially when you have those hybrid type of layouts where you still have a deep dependence to go back on-prem for whatever reason, any core system that is still there, and you need to extrapolate information out from on-prem. That is certainly a challenge. You have certain industries where that is deeper, and the adoption or lack of adoption of cloud services is certainly related to that, and to the fear or the lack of trust in some spaces, or regulatory type of situations that are still there, right? I mean, there is a lot of regulation that needs to be urgently updated, in my opinion, to really get the value that you could get out from the cloud. And to make it a third, just to drop a number behind, because we could be speaking about this all day, if you want. Skill gaps, right? I mean, the skill gap, the organizational skill gap, is certainly a top priority to address, and generative AI is a very good example on how fast and furious things can change from night to dawn, right? I mean, 3 years ago, nobody, unless you were a specialist on the area, was speaking about language models. Now, if you are not speaking about language models, you are out of the market, right? So pretty much. So that is an example on how technology grows exponentially, and the ability of organizations to absorb that technology is logarithmic, right? So you have you have like this deviation that creates that knowledge gap, and it gets wider and wider. And I believe that will keep on happening. In fact, as it was mentioned on the previous talk, I mean, strategies are no longer being discussed in years, right? I mean, if you are drawing your strategy within 1 year now, I mean, that seems reasonable. While you were speaking about 3, 4, 5-year roadmap before. I mean, now it's very hard to predict where will come next because it's moving really fast. So keeping up with skills is paramount in my opinion. But the good news is there is no better moment in time to learn technology, right? I mean, with the tools and the capabilities that you have today, I mean, you can learn skills autonomously while addressing a chatbot and practicing and getting the Gen AI to drive a lot of knowledge in a babysitting way. I mean, take you from the hand and learn new skills. So I believe that's good news, in my opinion, Josie.
I totally agree. I definitely agree that there's a lot of opportunity for us to pick up new skills as we go, even in conversations like this. I think we're all learning a lot. So I know that we've kind of discussed the challenges and we've heard the word of caution from both of you. So spinning it a little bit on a positive tone now, what advice and recommendations do you have for organizations that are really embarking on this journey? How are they going to leverage the benefits of the cloud? And speaking of kind of the opportunities within cost, what are some effective ways that they can really measure their results and measure their return on investments for these strategies? Martin, we'll start with you this time.
Okay, so measuring results, I mean, the obvious remains from my perspective, right? I mean, if you're running a business, having a clear ROI is never going to go away, right? I mean, unless you are working pro bono, you need to understand how your return of investment will work around certain activities. So I believe that is obvious. I mean, measuring operational effectiveness or time to market type of KPIs are also strategic and remain there. But I want to make a point about not leaving the qualitative type of measurements, right? And I want to quote Thomas Domke, the CEO of GitHub, was visiting us in Argentina a couple of months ago, and he mentioned that one of the best things that you get out of the use of GitHub Copilot is developers' happiness, right? And I was like trying to really grasp this concept, which is sometimes you improve certain things that are hard to measure, right? I mean, and perhaps by introducing a certain solution, I might be able to improve the ROI. I might be able to get a product into the market faster, while people will hate what they're doing, right? I mean, and leave the company, and my attrition will skyrocket. So measuring things that are also improving the quality on how we do things, right? I mean, if I can put Copilot and give 5 hours, 6 hours back to my collaborators, so they can either reinvest that time into things that are measurable to the business or not, right? I mean, improve the quality of the AR within a company. I believe that needs to be measured as well, because that is part of the return of that investment, right? And really think that everyone should consider that while measuring how we get back after we invest in something.
Okay, so building on top of what Martin was saying, I think that the word that I like to use for how the AI is going to be applied is the word pervasive. I mean, every single business process has the potential of being disrupted by AI. So, and we need to assume that all our competitors that are in the same market or in the same industry, they are going to adopt like a baseline level of AI. I like to think like in a very simple way in two different levels, right? What I call the out-of-the-box AI, which you can use when you implement a specific model to solve a business problem, something that you can buy from the market. And you have to assume that all your competitors are going to be at that same level. So this is not something that will allow you to differentiate. It is something that's going to allow you to survive in the market. If you don't do that, you will be in a very worse competitive positions than all of your competitors, because doing that is relatively cheap, relatively easy. So everybody's going to do it. So if you don't do it, you are running from behind, right? And then there's the potential of building differentiated value using AI. And that comes from two things: on how you use your own company information, leveraging your own company data, how much you know your customers, how much you know your processes, how much you know about your industry, and then improving or customizing these standard solutions that they can pre-built for your specific market, for your specific business objectives. And that's when you can build a strong differentiation. Because I believe that in 2-3 years from now, or even before, all the companies who are going to have a chatbot that is using generative AI. They will be very friendly. They will be able to answer your questions probably at a very similar level as a human assistant. So this is not really going to be the differentiator. But how much you know about your customer, how precise you are giving advice or recommendations, because you know which are the most common problems of your products and which are the best solutions. This is where the differentiation comes. So once again, think about the baseline AI. Like, this is going to be out of the box, and almost everyone is going to be using it. So it's a survival matter, and then build value, understanding better your data, and knowing better your business. And regarding data, it's something that I'm sure that Martin is going to agree. More and more, we are including non-structured information, right? So there are different statistics, like 80 or 90% of the information that is generated is non-structured. So we're talking about video, we're talking about voice calls, we're talking about emails and stuff like that. So and in the past, it was really difficult to analyze this kind of information, or you need people with some specific set of talents. So you need data scientists and people who knows a lot about machine learning and AI. Nowadays, it's much easier to do that. So we need to have a comprehensive strategy to include all these types of informations. But it can be a little bit overwhelming because there are so many things to do, so many type of data, so many business problems to address. So I like to use this idea of crawl, walk, run, right? So create a simple strategy at the beginning while your company starts to include AI in most of the processes, right? Start simple, as we were mentioning with Martin, pointing to the most valuable business process at the beginning, which is going to be where we can show the most impact in the business. But be ambitious in the strategy, right? Start with something simple and valuable, but also be bold, because we cannot, as Martin was saying, build 5 years or 3 years strategy plan. That's very difficult today. But be bold in the roadmap that you build, and then start with something that is valuable and you can do in the short term, and then start building on top of that.
Amazing. No, thank you. And I think kind of going on your point where everything is now, we're all baselined at the moment, and we need to find our differentiator because AI, the tools and technologies afforded to us kind of put us all at the same playing ground. Putting on our futurist hat a little bit, what are some key trends and emerging technologies that you see are really going to impact us further? Leandro, I think I want to, let's continue on.
I like to think about our AI models like gaining human senses, right? Like we started only reading text or simple things, and we are now moving ahead with this idea of multimodality, where we are including also hearing, like say, like analyzing voice or sound, and then seeing, like analyzing video and images, right? So I think that the power of this could be really transforming, because it will be difficult to incorporate senses like smell or touch. I don't know if we are going to do that at some time, but the idea of having this concept of multimodality, where we can mix and generate conversations or ideas, including all types of information, is extremely powerful, because we can start. Some of the first use cases that we find for this is when we think about advertising campaigns, right? Where we explain that we want the campaign, and then we generate visual assets related to the products that we want to promote, and in a given environment, or with some specificities regarding how we want to show the product. So this is something that it's very easy to prove value. But imagine, like, there are many other things that we can do with that. I am sure that if you have children in school age, they are extremely smart regarding how to apply all these techniques in order to solve their day-to-day problems in the school, right? So there are many possibilities where we can apply these new technologies.
Awesome. Martin, what does your 8-ball tell you?
Oh, so I always say that it's hard to predict certain things because things are moving in such a massive way. But if I should have to list a few, I mean, we come from the on-prem or cloud world. I believe that the rise of edge computing is clear also, right? So there is a midterm that will bridge both worlds, and we really make those reluctant industries that don't want to full-blown into the cloud to really consider the advantage of the resources that you can get out in a more shy way, if you want. So constructing on top of what Leandro was saying, I believe that evolution of what we're seeing of AI in general, right? I mean, real-time analytics for AI. I mean, we are still seeing a really static picture on what AI can do, right? I mean, we need to train, retrain, but when the analytic capabilities keep on evolving, and we are really being able to use AI within real time, will be tremendous impact. In the same line with that, the advancements of the machine learning operations is certainly going to drive a change for the war, for the business, for the governments to operate using AI capabilities to a different level. And in line with something that I really like, which is how the language models evolve from large language models into small language models. I see a clear trend that it's going to be related with the use of AI in the world of the devices, right? The IoT, and that's where you will see AI everywhere, right? I mean, we have now models that are able to run in our cell phones, right? And the performance of those models is incredible, right? I mean, and you are cutting the compute requirements 10x, but still getting outrageous performance out of them. So I believe that will keep on happening. I mean, evolving the way we build models, and that we require less computational power to make incredible things, and to have a tremendous AI model within your fridge, right? Within your phone, within all your devices. I mean, and making decisions based on the output that those models create. I believe that's going to be awesome.
That's amazing. No, thank you so much. I mean, I wish we had more time because I could listen to you guys talk for much longer and ask a lot more questions and get your insights. But in the interest of time, I think we unfortunately have to wrap up. So thank you guys so much for your time. And back to you, Pete and Gina.
Thanks so much, Leandro, Martin, and Josie. Also, I want to thank one of you for joining us today. It was an incredible next event. It really has been an inspiring and very insightful experience. I'm sure it was for all of you. And it was absolutely filled with valuable discussions, groundbreaking ideas, and meaningful connections. We hope that you can leave this event feeling motivated and also empowered to drive change in your respective fields. Remember, the power of data and AI lies really in our hands, and together we can shape the future where innovation and impact go hand in hand. So keep pushing boundaries, embracing new possibilities, and leveraging the new potential of data and create a better world. So again, once again, thank you for being part of this extraordinary journey. So until we meet again, stay curious, stay innovative, and keep driving positive change. Goodbye and take care, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks.